best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
There is no second best. We know this very well, guys. We're going live here with the coverage of the White House press conference that should be happening within any minute from now. Donald Trump is meeting with Netanyahu after they did cancel a previous press conference here in the Oval Office. However, we are expecting a press conference within the next 30 minutes here. In fact, it can happen within the next 5 minutes where we're going to get open conversations, open questions on the overall tariffs and the economy. As you guys have seen, everybody was anticipating a Black Friday this morning. We did not necessarily get or not a Black Friday, but a Black Monday. However, prices are bouncing here today. So Bitcoin sitting at about $79,000. Again, the SPX is in the green, up 0.44% here, up to almost 5,100 points after hitting a low of $4,800. Of course, you guys were here with us this morning covering this news, but we are expecting some monumental announcements, or at least some pretty big discussion around the tariffs at the White House here at 2:30. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're on X, make sure you hit that repost button right below to help us out in the algorithm. Of course, get that video out there because right now is more important than ever to be paying attention every day in what happens in these markets. On one side of the spectrum, you have just fear-mongering and death and great recession. The other side, you have people believing that this is going to be the best thing to ever happen to the United States of America. And then there's a lot of moderates, which I would try to consider myself one, even though a lot of people won't label me as one. I believe we're going to somewhere land in the middle, which is more cautiously optimistic. I'm expecting upside. I believe that this is a great dollar cost average entry point in these markets. And I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. So good to see everybody back in here, of course, from the morning show. Type 1 in chat. Just want to do a little bit of a poll here. Type 1 in chat if you believe tariffs are a good thing or Trump's plan is a good thing. Type 2 in chat if you believe it is the worst economic disaster to ever hit our market. So 1, if you believe it's a good thing. 2, if you believe it's a bad thing. And that can give kind of the audience that is listening in here an understanding or at least a perspective on where everybody will be sitting here or kind of focusing on in the near future here. Man, the ones absolutely broke the chat. I saw Crypto Crank say something. I wanted to see it. Right side, right side and broadcasting network. I don't even know what you meant by that, man. I am sorry, dude. I read your comments and got confused there. Tariffs are good. Looks like most of the comment is in between. I like Nick right here. Nick on YouTube. Nick on YouTube, of course, says 1.5. 1.5. So in between there, bro is using 4D chess with his questions and his answers here. Bye coming from X here. Well, I can tell you one thing, guys. You know, let me know. What is happening here? I don't know what that was. There we go. Let me know what altcoins or stocks that you guys picked up on this downtrend. I honestly believe, I mean, everybody knows this. The most amount of millionaires are made in recessions. Like, everybody knows this. Everybody agrees with this, right? It's, you know, I saw Patrick Bet-David. He put out a great video today. He was talking about the COVID-19 crisis. And if I can give you guys any kind of word of advice, this is something that I've had a lot of billionaire mentors I've had the opportunity to work with, from oil companies. You know, you guys know I would travel to Dubai all the time. I've talked to a lot of the Saudi royals out there and everything as well. But, you know, just in local communities and local markets out here, everybody that buys at the bottom are the ones that always end up regretting it. And so if you're making that panic decision, in Patrick Bet-David's video today, I mean, he talked about how he had a friend pretty much have $10 million in investments in stocks. And during the COVID crash, when everything was, you know, everybody was screaming at the bottom of that crash, oh, we're going to go to zero. We're going to go into a great recession. That fearmonger had his friend actually sell his position at a 50% loss. So his friend lost over $5 million. He sold at a $5 million loss. 6 months later, that $5 million would have been worth anywhere from $12 to $15 million. 6 months later. But because he sold in fear, because he sold and he panicked, because he fell for the media, because he fell for the same people that were telling you to, you know, go get the vaccine, you're going to kill people if you don't, for the same people that said, you know, Biden's laptop is a conspiracy, etc. And you guys are going to go say, Josh, that has nothing to do with the economies. These are the same people, the same conversations that are now the same media that is fear mongering what's happening today. So can we go lower? Sure, I can't predict that. But ultimately, we know that stocks are down 20%. Bitcoin is down roughly 30%, or at least had a 30% pullback. Altcoins are down 60, 70%. If you're in large caps, they're down 90, 95% if you're in small caps. Now is the time to DCA into those platforms. The people that DCA in today are the ones that will be able to sell in profit for the first time in their first ever true market cycle in this next bull run, whether that's a week, whether that's a month, whether that's a year. I think everybody here anticipates a $150,000 Bitcoin one day. So just kind of take that into consideration, guys. But looking at the charts here today, of course, getting a little bit of pullback here. This is a bunch of volatility. It's a bunch of volatility moving up into the White House press conference, which we are just moments away. Let me go ahead and go to X here to see if there's any breaking news in the last few minutes. U.S. markets versus global markets today. China's market was down 13.2%. So again, supposed to be Black Monday here. Jim Cramer, chat. Jim Cramer told us that Black Monday was coming alongside a lot of other, I would say, Jim Cramer-like figures here. The S&P 500, though, however, is up 0.4, probably 0.5% as we speak. Japan's economy, though, or their stock market, sorry, down 7.8%. China down 13.2%. Taiwan down 9.7%. Europeans market down 4.7%. Every market down, but the U.S. is up, and that is because of the negotiation talks here today. So, man, we thought Cramer was right for 2 seconds. That lasted less than 24 hours for him to come out and actually, in fact, say he was going to reverse those thoughts and not panic. But Zimbabwe, just in here, guys. Zimbabwe to suspend all tariffs on United States goods. That is coming out from a few moments ago here. And if you think you're down bad, just quickly reminder, guys, Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, he is down $30 billion from his portfolio all-time high, even though we don't expect that to ever pretty much go away. Just in the European Union, though, proposing 25% tariff on U.S. goods. This is after coming out this morning and saying they're open for tariff negotiations. Interesting play there. I'd have to look into that news a little bit more to make sure that Watcher Guru isn't misreporting there. China poses export controls on rare earths, threatening U.S. tech and defense supply chains. It's coming from Brick News here 31 minutes ago. And again, for anybody that is, freaking out over all of these announcements today, it's going to be breaking news upon breaking news. We will be hopefully getting answers from the administration here, from Donald Trump himself at the press conference in roughly the next 10 minutes. So if you're on TikTok, head over to YouTube. That is where we're live with all of the coverage here if you guys want to follow along with us here. What else we got here in terms of breaking news? Breaking from Kobesai letter here. You have the European Union. That's still the 25%. They're looking to do that on May 16th. So that's well over a month now. I'm expecting that's going to be, that's definitely going to be negotiated in many different ways here. Justin billionaire Tim Draper on tariff situation. All scenarios are good for Bitcoin buyers. It is inflation resistant and innovation forward. So Bitcoin bulls excited for, of course, Bitcoin here. U.S. Treasury spoke with Kristen Welker. That was her annoying name. Real wages went up under Trump and down under Biden with the tariffs embedded by the Trump's first term. So this is actually really cool data for anybody that wants real data points here and not just talking points. And, you guys are on TikTok or you're on Twitter or you're on YouTube listening to people, debate on what they might think. This is directly from Scott Bessett here. And he says, what I like is data. If we look at President Trump's first term, a 20% tariff on China led to a 0.7% price increase over 4 years. That's pretty good. A 20% tariff on China equated to a 0.7% price increase over 4 years. This week, everyone wants to look at the stock market going down. You know what else is going down? Oil prices went down almost 15%, and interest rate hit their low for the year, which impacts working Americans much more than the stock does. During President Trump's first term, households saw real wages go up, which is not what happened over the past 4 years. We all know this. Our wages have gone down. Our real wages have gone down, but that's why the bottom 50% is getting eviscerated. Type W in chat if you agree with Scott Bessent there. Type L in chat if you think he's a complete lunatic. I'd be on the W side of that as well. I think working class Americans definitely are at the bottom of the totem pole right now when it comes to the United States economy here. Let's tariff Israel. There are no more exemptions. Let's tariff Israel. I think I'd much rather tariff Israel than keep supplying them with hundreds of billions of dollars to, bomb children. But that's my personal opinion, so I will keep out from that. Anyways, either way, I don't know if we're allowed to say that on YouTube or not, but I did. I don't give a shit. European Commission offered a 0-for-0 tariff deal to avert the trade. Yeah, so this is interesting. European Commission offered a 0-for-0 tariff deal to come out with a 25% tariff. Interesting here. Apple is racing to fly planes of iPhones into the United States, according to Inside Paper here. Inside Paper here. Gaza just reported no tariffs on. That's crazy talk, dude. Oil went down. Price at the pump jumped up 10%. Oil prices down means less demand. Blood in the streets. Bye. Russia, no tariffs. What a surprise. Well, also, there's multiple different countries. Mexico, Canada, they weren't included within that. There's different negotiations taking place. Also, Russia almost trades completely in their own dollar. Bitcoin is growing up. I would agree, man. It is growing here. It is a fact that under Democrats, stock markets do better. Okay, that's fantastic, man. That's crazy talk, bro. You're a genius, man. You're a genius, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's actually a valid point. Stock markets do tend to do better under Democratic president. However, this time I do think it's unprecedented what we're seeing with tariffs. It's unprecedented what we're seeing with tariffs. And then again, stock markets do better under Democrats, but 88% of the stock market is controlled by the ultra elitist and the wealthiest class. So if you want to know who the globalists back, there you go. Again, this is going to be more beneficial to the working class than anybody else. But in the streets is bye. He'll reject it. This is also him being a bully despite the consequences. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know the negotiations here. I'm not going to pretend to. Look, if this comes out in 3 to 6 months and we're in a great recession and markets aren't back up and wage growth isn't rising and manufacturing data isn't coming back, I will come out and be like, hey, I'm wrong. I was wrong, But until then, usually you can scream from the rooftops on how much you hate this, but it's happening. We are watching this take place right now. So sue me for being optimistic. Discount stocks here. That is awesome opportunity. I do agree with you. South Africa not seeing the light. Even Zimbabwe has. Yeah, it's straight up stupid according to 95% of economists. Will Russell, you pulled 95% out of your rectum, man. But hey, there is a lot of economists that do believe the tariffs are a terrible idea. But it's not 95%. Let's use real data. Justin, news from Besant here. I'll check out Scott Besant here. We'll see in 2 seconds. Secretary of Treasury Scott Besant here. Following a very constructive phone discussion. This is from the U.S. Treasurer 2 minutes ago. Breaking news. Phone discussion with government in Japan. Donald Trump has tasked me and the U.S. trade rep to open negotiations to implement the president's visions for the new golden age of global trade with their prime minister and his cabinet. So it looks like just negotiations are happening with Japan as we speak. And actually, we got a thread here. Japan remains among America's closest allies, and I look forward to our upcoming productive engagement regarding tariffs, non-tariff trade barriers, currency issues, and government subsidies. I appreciate the Japanese government outreach and measured approach to this process. China has chosen to isolate itself by retaliating and doubling down on previous negative behavior. China has chosen to isolate itself by retaliating and doubling down, of course, but over 50 countries have responded both openly and positively to POTUS here and its historic action to create a fairer, more prosperous system of global trade. And that is about it from the thread here. So we'll see what happens with these negotiations. But the negotiations are happening, guys. Now sitting at $79,100. Is global money supply still the biggest indicator that it will bring all-time highs in alt season? I mean, usually it's a lagging indicator. We're about usually it's like a 3-month lagging indicator, I believe. So coming from talk time here, it's a great question. If you pull it up with other Bitcoin charts, I believe it is a lagging indicator that usually the following months you see some pretty upside growth there. We have Jack Pace here. You're right, is 100% of Nobel Prize winners economists. That's also false, guys. It's 12 Nobel guys. If you're falling for the Nobel Prize winners like headlines, do you know Henry Kissinger won a Nobel Peace Prize? This guy's literally responsible for millions of people dying in Vietnam. The same headlines is the 12 Nobel Peace Prize economists say this is an economic, going to cause economic recession. If you actually even read the articles, most of them are microeconomists. They're not geopolitical. They're not macro. They use it as a headliner for a reason. It's the same headlines as 51 intelligence officers tell us that the Hunter Biden laptop story is fake. You remember that from 2021? So if you want to trust those headlines, it's great. And I'm not discounting The Economist. There's a lot of very, very talented, very, 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 very smart economists that say, this isn't going to work. But there's also, you're discounting all the economists that are incredibly intelligent. Druckenmiller, Scott Bessent. Again, you're talking about people that are very pro-tariff here, that are saying this is going to work in the long term, that these negotiations are going to come to fruition. So, if you're going to play that card, you gotta play both sides. And that's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be as middle as possible here. Of course, I've drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid, but is what it is. Kissinger is a part of the establishment. The Nobel Peace Prize was created by the guy who invented. Didn't Hillary Clinton get one too? And she's literally responsible for Haiti. Anyways, we'll be careful here. People just didn't realize that before countries already had tariffs on the U.S. It's the admin posturing the idea for better trade deals. Yeah, which is crazy. It's a democratic perspective too. That's what's crazy to me is tariffs are a democratic agenda piece. That was an item on the democratic agenda for decades, all the way up till this year, up until this campaign. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Scott Bessent was literally a Democrat. I think he's still registered a voting Democrat. But Barack Obama, your guys' favorite, here for 8 years, he was huge for tariffs. He wanted to focus on reducing the deficit. He wanted to cut Medicaid. He wanted to cut Medicare, and he didn't want to cut the programs. He wanted to clean up the waste, fraud, and abuse. And there's plenty of videos in congressional hearings. You can watch these conversations take place where they wanted to create a Department of Efficiency for the government. We need to let it. We just need to let it play out. At the end of the day, I mean, none of us can. The camera's a little blurry here. I need maybe TJ to come fix that here. Obama too. Yeah, it is what it is. So I think we gotta just wait it through. We just gotta wait it through. Get off politics unless it's directly about crypto. Guys, these tariffs directly impact crypto. I don't know if you guys have been here the last 2 months. They in fact are impacting crypto, guys. They're in fact impacting crypto pretty intensely right now. And now that Trump is doing this, they're like, F that. Yeah, exactly. But we'll see. Obama's tariffs actually saved my job. Oh, that's actually incent music. Yeah. It's yeah. So I mean, again, we just got to see what's going to happen here. I think the worst thing to do is panic. I think the second worst thing to do is drink the Kool-Aid so much that you think there could be no wrong done. I don't believe we're going to see a 250K Bitcoin this year. I would love to be wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong on there, but I am optimistically excited because it is going to bring back manufacturing. It's going to bring back auto manufacturing to states. It's going to help states like Michigan and Pennsylvania. Energy is being deregulated. The private sector is being re-leveraged. The U.S. 10 years coming down, which means mortgage rates are going to drop. That means you're going to see, hopefully, the Federal Reserve drop their interest rates. It's going to create more borrowing pressure and more money and more subsidization, essentially, for the entire private sector, which is going to create more economic growth and expansion over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. I'm excited, man. Bitcoin's got a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We got a digital stockpile. We got, Bitcoin energy bills being passed on through Texas. But the mining summit that just happened in Nashville, the Tennessee governor was like, yeah, I want to double down on these investments. A lot of growth for us in the crypto scene. A lot of growth for us in the Bitcoin mining field. So I think it's going to flow over very, very well here. And then, of course, you guys know where I stand on this is with, the altcoins. I think it's going to be very sector-based. So tokenization, real-world assets. This is going to be a huge field that you see Wall Street not only adapt, but start to merge with. And I think you're going to see huge growth and upside in a lot of those key fields and sectors here over the course of the next year to 2 years. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Okay, so you're completely in denial because your cult heroes said to stay calm. Noted. Sure, if that's what you got from this, man, that is, that's what you got from here, Jack. Super valid take, man. It's fun. It's when people disagree with me, it's always insults. It's never constructive reasoning. If you guys, this is something we need to work on as a society. I think this is what might unite Americans a little bit more, is be open to a constructive conversation. If you don't agree with somebody, whether it's your family member, whether it's your friend, whether it's someone you're scrolling past on TikTok, instead of an insult, if you want to actually encourage open dialogue and progressive dialogue, maybe use data points, maybe use constructive reasoning. I'm just telling you, it might help you in the long term here. It might help you just a little bit. A little bit. Just found out that Norway's wealth fund owns 3,000 Bitcoin and mostly true finance. Well, that's something that nobody's even asking about is the sovereign wealth fund conversation. Imagine if we do see a wealth fund take place. Could be huge, man. Imagine they start allocating to Bitcoin. Could be huge, man. It'll be huge. That advice goes both ways. Oh, 100%, dude. Guys, there's plenty of MAGA Republicans out there that are absolutely lunatics. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. There's far left radicals and there's far right radicals, both sides. And right now, unfortunately, far left and far right are the loudest people on on any internet platform right now. Like the crazier you can be, the more viral you go. That is kind of how it works. It's like, it's just, yeah, that is social media right now. That is your news right now. It's Moon on ETH. So you don't think I'm definitely not far right, dude. And if you think I'm far right, you have no understanding of politics. I am an environmentalist and a humanitarian, dude. Like those are two very anti-far right perspectives to have. It's like, by the way, closed borders is a far left. That was a Democratic perspective. Again, Barack Obama. That is closed borders was not a right perspective for years, for decades and decades and decades, all the way up till Trump. So it's yeah. If I had anything on moderate, dude, I'd be more towards RFK side of things. Is where I would stand. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting here, guys. We do have a lot of guys. Do not fall for any of the scams in the chat here. It looks like there's bots raiding with some bullshit meme coins here coming in. But let me go over to, let's see if White House Press is speaking here. He's not speaking yet. What is this? Isn't that the Sham Wow guy? Oh no, this is My Pillow. This the My Pillow. He's running against Tim Walz. Did you guys know that? The My Pillow guy? The My Pillow guy? I'm pretty sure that's who this is. It is. He's running for governor against Tim Walz, dude. Funny. That's crazy. What a time to be alive, man. RFK is compromised. Yeah, but I love Nicole Shanahan. I loved her, dude. I think she should be the governor of California. She's a badass, dude. Complete badass. And I like compromise is crazy. What politician is it? What politician? At the end of the day, guys, if you want to be a politician, this is my favorite point. It was when people go, "Oh, so and so is compromise." Guys, it's a two-party system. This two-party system, since 1971, we came off the gold standard. Lobbying was heavily introduced, and money printing became such a large part of our corporate operations that they just printed endless amount of capital, causing massive inflationary pressures that made us more and more inclined to do whatever Wall Street needs. This is why we rely on BlackRock. They bailed us out of the 2008 financial recession. They bailed us out of COVID-19. It is completely intertwined. It's molded and intertwined. So, I don't think there's a single politician you're ever going to find that you're going to agree with 100% of the time. I think that's impossible. I think it's a great. I understand why you want that. I understand. I completely understand it, and I think it's completely okay to have that opinion or that expression. But no one's ever going to win the Democratic Party or the Republican Party in a two-party system when you need all the electoral votes. Not only do you need the popular vote, you need the electoral votes. So if you want to run independent, you're already going to lose the electoral vote campaign. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but that is the reality of the markets. And so it's either left or it's either right. And I think that pendulum, one, definitely needed to shift from the left with how radical the markets were going over the last 4 years and the wealth distribution that was taking place. For a party that seems to be very anti-billionaire, they're always against Elon Musk. They're very pro-Pritzker. They're very pro-George Soros. They're very pro-Pfizer. They're very pro-pharmaceutical. And that wealth gap needed to be, this is why we Bitcoin. This is why we crypto, guys. We're in Bitcoin because there's no bank that can tell you or me what we could do with our money. If I have Bitcoin in self-custody, it's my asset, my control, my monetary value, right? I could do what I want with it. That's why I'm a huge advocate for DeFi and borrowing and lending. That's why we crypto in the first place. Very, very libertarian perspective. I like Ron Paul 85% of the time. Don't do drugs, kids. Democrats need big change. They can't win anyway. I think Democrats have a huge chance at winning 2028. I think Gavin Newsom has a very, very big chance at being your president in the United States. It's and that's just being realistic. The fact that we lost Wisconsin Supreme Court, I believe, it just happened. Like, unless they get voting laws reestablished, they're going to rezone a lot of your congressional zones, or a lot of your districts. That can impact certain seats moving into the midterm election. So yeah, it's not, guys. It's not. it's not the fight's not over at all. If you guys, it's going to be an intense 4 years here. Stayed home and independents switched to Trump. Yeah, well, it's just because the Democratic Party forgot about independence in this last campaign. They went they focused completely on the left there, which is why they lost every swing state. If they focused on independence, they may have actually won a few swing states. They didn't. Okay, Chad, can we talk crypto? Yes, guys, we talked crypto all morning here right now. If you guys want me to talk crypto, please go to the White House and report them to give us breaking news on things that aren't in reference to the tariffs, which are impacting our crypto portfolios right now. Guys, right now we're waiting on the announcements. There's going to be a press conference here, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, repost if you're on X, if you're on TikTok. Feel free to come over to YouTube, Discover Crypto. We are waiting for the press conference here to talk about hopefully see the reporter's question, the tariffs and the economy currently. That is what we're waiting on for here, guys. Guys, I love you all, and I love being here with you guys, but we have to cover politics. We have to cover macro. Crypto is political at this point. You can't, like, crypto. Why is what if you're going to come in this chat today and be like, why is crypto down? I go tariffs. Like, can you stay away from the politics? Like, that is what's affecting the price action of every single person's portfolios today. We have to cover this. And if you're not staying up to date with this, you could not only miss out on the bottom, but you could end up getting completely ruined in the long term. Tell Trump to say XRP. Yeah, XRP to the moon, dude. I live in San Francisco. Let's effing hope not. Gavin is terrible. Yeah, dude, his podcast was genius. The fact that he had Charlie Kirk on tells me he's gonna make a really strong run for. I'm just being, guys. I'm not saying I want him to win. I'm from California. I think California has gone completely downhill. I'm just like, you guys know I try to be as realistic as possible on this channel. In your opinion, how are our trade deficits with other countries screwing the United States, and how does it justify tariffing countries to such extent? Well, very easy, simple, Jack. It's a very simple answer. The United States is the world superpower. We are the ones that navigate and control all of the free trade in our global channels, whether it's through the Strait of Hormuz, whether it's through the Strait of Malacca, whether any strait, really anywhere. We're the ones that manage the global trading routes, and we're the ones that have the world reserve currency. So if you're not going to conduct trade in our currencies, if you're not going to hold our treasuries, if you're not going to, pay off your loans to the United States, even though we're the ones that are protecting you through things like NATO and other military measures, as well as giving the, complete regulatory control over the, financial sectors and subsidize your economies. There's many different reasons why there shouldn't be deficits. There's many different reasons. And if there shouldn't be deficits, if there even is an argument to have deficits, we should still have a free trade route. That I think is a very, very simple. I think that's just common sense. I don't see how people disagree with that. Like, why are you advocating for there not to be open, fair trade between the United States and other countries? And I guess I'm going to counter you with these questions. I'm going to counter you with these questions. If tariffs are so bad, why do other countries have them on the United States? And if tariffs only affect the American consumer, why do other countries care? And if you can't answer those, Jack, we'll have a conversation there. Wait, how did BlackRock bail us out of the 2008 financial crisis and the housing crisis? They're the ones that were contracted through the Obama administration. Here, I'll pull it up for you. Obama, BlackRock, 2008. I actually think Larry Fink was also responsible for the CDOs. Completely here. So if you haven't read through this before, feel free to you could just literally type in $1 trillion plan, 2008, with Obama, and it will pop up with all the private-public partnerships that bailed the government by dropping interest rates, etc., to help out the administration. So we're pretty much indebted to them, is how you can think about it. There are loan sharks. They're talking. Did you
live.
troll me?
We love our.
You guys trolled me.
We will continue to fight for you. Looking forward to football season. And
let's go to YouTube here. Let's see if there's any lives.
When my team pitched the idea, I thought it.
All right, here we go. XRP Pete here. XR Pete's. We can't, but many American things. What the heck is this wording, bro? We can't, but many Americans think here in Canada, because many American things here in Canada because of tariffs. There was, I believe, a U.S. senator who said, drop tariffs to 0% and let the best product win. I totally agree. Yeah, that would be, yeah, I completely agree. But also you do need tariffs. Tariffs are national, like on certain steel industries, on semiconductors. There is also tariffs that are needed for national security and economic security. So yeah, I mean, there's that part too. But the guys, I don't think he's not speaking yet. He's not speaking. And I can't tell if my eyes are blurry or if the camera's blurry. Might be a little bit of both.
as he always is, whether.
So yeah, we're still waiting, guys. Man, they're always late. They're always late. Always late here. Almost lost our TikTok live stream here. We go back to boom. We still live on TikTok? What the heck? That's crazy, dude. Can you open guests, guys? I am live on YouTube, so I'm not taking guests right now at all, guys. Sorry about that. I will be hopefully integrating a live feature where people can join from the camera on YouTube. You guys can join us. Which if Aaron could text TJ to come fix the visual, that'd be perfect. Need someone to adjust the blur here. Behind the scenes, please, producers, come report to the studio. Lost decade again. What's up, Steady? Put on glasses on the camera, dude. Change lens to autofocus. Has anyone done a wellness check on Gensler? Actually, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Very, very good question. What else we got? Right now, the market is at a pit stop. We have to get. Let's see what we got in the news, guys. Let's see what we got in the news. So we're moments away from Donald Trump speaking at the press conference here, guys. Again, if you haven't already, hit that repost button on X. Hit that like button if you're on YouTube, and appreciate these breaking news live videos with you guys. 1,500 people watching, or it's actually 2,500 people watching between the two channels here. Yeah, just hit that like button. Easily 1,000 like video here, live stream for you guys today. And then on X, of course, I think we should be able to hit 100 likes. Hit 100 likes, guys. Let's hit likes, hit repost. Appreciate you guys. Gary cash out his 2 million XRP. Yeah, he just dipped, dude. He's like, I'm decent out here. In terms of breaking news on X, let's see if we can just see anything new breaking through here. What the? Don't even want to know, dude. I don't know if I should be scrolling through X now today. What wild stuff am I seeing here? Some monkey races, guys. Look, hey, I'll tell you one thing. While markets are down, if Bitcoin dies, we could pivot to betting and gambling on Vietnamese monkey races. Yeah, that is so much cooler than anything we have in the United States. That's probably terrible for the animal, but hey, that is some interesting stuff here. X is always showing me things I did not know exist, nor did I need to know existed in some ways. Let's go to. You seen that monkey race on Reddit? Yeah, I just saw that today. That blew my mind. 13 minutes ago, Doge, the first serious effort in years to take control of Washington, spending on violence overdue. That's just coming from Newsmax. Nothing crazy. Really, it doesn't look like any major announcements are rolling through because they're in the middle of this negotiation right now. We go to following here. Maybe we get some more news here. European Union. Well, how about that? Tariff negotiations. Almost like it's been the goal all along, despite draconian threats. Duh. I love that comment. A good comment there. I mean, does anybody just expect this to like just be blanket tariffs and not negotiations? Like that's just crazy to me. We got, see what we have. 13 individuals were referred to Michigan Attorney General for non-citizen voting. Doesn't really look like too much is happening other than us all waiting here for Donald Trump to save the market, guys. I'm just kidding. Usually when he talks, by the way, markets take. He's probably going to talk and markets are going to dip again. Probably going to happen. Any updates on your White House credentials so that you can be in the press briefing room? All I can say to that, David, is stay tuned. Stay tuned. I am hopefully going to have some insane announcements in the following weeks here, guys. We've been working on some really big things. And then, of course, we got FOMO should be launching here soon as well with our entire... I'm building the Bloomberg for crypto, dude. The Bloomberg terminal for crypto. Except it's on steroids and has way more indicators and things for you guys as well to use. Like, we're building real products. That's what I've been putting all my money and time and energy into, man. I haven't been trading as much because we have been literally just nonstop. I mean, we made some really good trades last week in the Telegram. If you guys want to come join that, it's still free to do. But in Crypto Crank, absolutely crushing it. But been much more focused on getting these products out here for you guys. And then, of course, I'm NDA'd, but you will be hearing very, very soon. You'll be hearing very, very soon. And I think it's going to shock everybody in these chats, especially if you think I'm some like radical right-wing person. It's going to be funny to see your mouths hit the floor. APAC is the second largest lobbying group in the United States after Big Pharma's, and it's literally a political action committee for Israel, a different country that is not America first. I mean, look, you have what you're saying, the second largest, and actually, I don't think that's true. Is APAC the second largest or third largest? Because I know the lawyer lobbying group is even. I'm pretty sure that's big, and then I know the teachers lobbying group also is massive as well. It's or the educational, I forget what the lobbying group is called. But dude, there's so many lobbying groups. It's the lobbying groups you don't hear about that have the most amount of impact. I don't know, man. There's just once you go down that rabbit hole, it just doesn't end, and then it just makes me question, like, it makes me question so much more. Like when the entire world, when the internet is talking about like X, Y, and Z being behind everything, it makes me really think about X, Y, and Z that nobody's talking about. It's like the billionaires that are known are not as scary as the billionaires are not known, that are not known. I just think there's so much more to the world, you know? But I do agree. I'm not saying I think there's corruption in every government across the planet. I'm not defending anything. I'm just saying it's like, dude, there's so much. It's like the JFK files, man. It's like how many agencies were involved? How many countries were involved? It's just like, at what point, dude, the truth's hard to find, man. The truth's hard to find. It's exhausting. Tariffs are a tax on the people. Bro's got his Democratic super PAC talking points here sent to him via email, I'm guessing. Do you have an NDA with Ripple? No, I don't. It's not, trust me, you guys will not be able to guess what it is. You can try to guess, but you won't guess. It's even bigger. Way bigger than Ripple. Trade was not free before tariffs. Load up every chance you get. Dollar cost average now. This is temporary. Anyone who disagrees with the left is far right. I say, I like this one. Anyone who disagrees with the left is far right. I say that as a lifelong Democrat who voted for Trump because he actually does something that Obama campaigned on. JB, you're now a far right. Congratulations, man. Welcome to the far right circle. Once in a lifetime boom incoming soon. Let's see if we got this pulled up here.
Different artists.
Trump's just taking his time, dude. They're just a little bit late on schedule here today. Pulse chain is CPR chain, dude. We know who's really behind everything. Yeah, I don't believe. I think there's many different factions behind there's many different factions around the world. It's not just one person that controls. There's not one group that controls the whole world. I think it's many different groups. NDA with Ondo. Tariffs are not a tax on the people. Do not buy that the product, but it's it is bigger than Dizzy leverage. Let's see what we got. MAGA extremist. Yes, dude. I'm a MAGA extremist, apparently. I'm also a Fed. People think I'm a Fed. Have you messed around with Pinlink's marketplace? I have. I actually need to finish setting that up today. I want to start earning yield on those miners. I'm going to pretty much use my Pinlink to. I'm going to use some of my Pinlink to pick up some of those miners. I'm excited for they're talking about they're going to be introducing full liquidities pool too. So right now on the marketplace, you can only buy NFT of the Bitcoin miners and you earn yield off that. But soon you'll be able to buy and sell the tokenized version very, very soon. So I'm very excited for that version as well to drop. But ultimately, I want to. It's kind of nice because the pin link I'll be utilizing is essentially going to just be reinvested into Bitcoin miners, and I want to be as exposed to Bitcoin miners as I possibly can. When is Trump talking? He was supposed to talk at 2:30, so we're just sitting here on our hands waiting for him to come out and speak here. So maybe 3 o'clock. I have the White House. Here you go. This is what you should be looking at, right? So the president greets Prime Minister of Israel at 1 p.m. Apparently, they were in a bilateral meeting, though, at 2. It is now 2:48. So the meeting is going a little extended here. And then 2:30 was supposed to be the press conference with the prime minister. So we'll see. We're expecting them to roll out of here anytime soon. I'll pull it up right now. Yeah. Can you text me that on the, can you send it to me in a DM? Or is it just on Ray Dalio? Ray Dalio. Why is the pen in his nose? He's sniffing pens? Like sniffing Sharpies? I didn't know Ray Dalio was chill like that. At the moment, a huge amount of attention is rightly being paid to the newly announced tariffs and their significant impacts on markets and economies. But very little attention is being paid to the circumstances that caused them. And even a bigger disruption is likely still ahead. Don't get me wrong, these tariff announcements are important developments, but most people are overlooking the much larger forces that are driving just about everything, including tariffs. Which how many of you, type 1 in chat if you know who Ray Dalio is with the Changing World Order, if you've read that book. Phenomenal book. That's actually Principles right above. Is that Changing World? Yeah, that's Principles right there, which is his other book. Fantastic read as well if you're just a young entrepreneur that wants to have a set, looking for some standards in life. But in my latest article, I discuss what I believe is far more important to keep in mind. We're witnessing a classic breakdown of the majority monetary, political, and geopolitical orders. This kind of breakdown happens only once in a lifetime, but it happened many times in history when similarly unsustainable conditions were in place. So is changing world orders taking place here? I wonder if do we think he grokked this? I think imagine he just grokked this. At this moment, a huge amount of attention is being justifiably paid to the announcement of tariffs and the beginning impact on markets and economies, while very little attention is being paid to the circumstances that caused them and the biggest disruptions that are likely still ahead. So he read this in. So here's the question here. The far bigger, far more important thing to keep in mind is that we are seeing a classic. Oh, it posted it twice. Here we go. Press conference taking place. Isn't this the? Is this the baseball team?
The Los Angeles Dodgers celebrating with President.
Very much, Mark. Congratulations.
Oh, never mind. They're killing time. He's not speaking yet, guys. They're literally replaying the Dodger issue. Why did you put this murdered on your thumbnail? What are you guys talking about, Mohammed? I refuse to let AI change the way I talk. Yeah. So guys, we're still moments away from Trump speaking here. They're just replaying his meeting. The meeting got canceled today. No, it didn't. I have the schedule pulled up here, guys. So the meeting with the prime minister at 1 p.m. with the open press got canceled. They still had the bilateral meeting with the White House press pool at 2, which is what they're in currently right now. The press conference was supposed to happen at 2:30. Those I don't believe were canceled. Let me see Trump press. At least I haven't seen. Yeah, so they're still supposed to have a press conference. if I'm not mistaken. Oh wait, so now wait, has the press conference been canceled? My goodness, did we literally read through this 4 times today? So the first press conference was this is the one that we thought was canceled. The president greets the prime minister of state Israel, open press. Or have they now canceled the 2:30 one as well? Hmm. Venue is over. Okay, hold on. Thank you. Venue is Oval Office. Yeah. So what we saw was the original one was canceled. Then they switched the venue to the Oval Office. Let's double check this real quick. It just moved to the Oval Office. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just moved. It wasn't. Let me see this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was moved. Probably just canceled it all. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna give it a few minutes. We'll give it a couple minutes. Netanyahu's like Hitler. Blah 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 blah. Went to golfing probably. Went to golfing probably. I'll give it a few minutes here. Everybody's live though. Like Fox News, everybody's live here looking to cover this conference at 2:30. So we'll see. We'll see right now. It's to keep you waiting all the while they're making their moves. Well, yeah, but also I don't expect these meetings, guys. We cover these meetings all the time. These meetings never go on. They're always late. They're always. They might have canceled it. They might have canceled it. But let me see. Let me see. Let's try to get. Let's focus this up. Post anything in chat if you guys see something. We go to. Live free trade in Canada. No one cares about Carney. Dude's a tool. So has everything been canceled today? No, everyone's waiting for the Oval Office there still.
Think of it, all of them, and he did something he.
We'll wait it through. Let's just pull up some altcoins. What are we looking up here, guys? What are we pulling up here? It's canceled. That's funny, nasties. Bro's Arrow's still okay. Let's actually pull up Aerodrome here. Aerodrome 32 cents, man. My dude went down to 28 cents. Yeah, I mean, guys, again, with any altcoin you're watching right now, oh my god, dude, they're devastated. Absolutely devastating blow here to Aerodrome's price action. Loaded Lions? Is that what I said? Loaded Lions? Where can I watch it? We're live on YouTube, Discover Crypto. Not canceled, be patient. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I will. I see people on both chats, all 3 chats actually, saying not canceled and canceled. So we're gonna give it some time. I still think the one that's taking it might happen in 3, it might happen at 3:30. We're gonna be live with you guys here covering it because I know there's gonna be some press here today. There has to be press today. They have to address these markets. So Aerodrome here though, 32 cents. I mean, I don't really know what I could say on it. Like, other than it's a decentralized exchange. This is a great DEX. It is the DEX for Base's ecosystem. It is the Uniswap of Base. It is as Uniswap is the Ethereum, Base is, or Aerodrome is the Base. Coinbase Ventures heavily invested into it. Coinbase utilizes it. But guys, you're not going to see, like, I think it's great to DCA into these projects at these levels. That's really all I can say here. Is like, if you believe in Aerodrome, if you believe the Base ecosystem is going to expand, if you believe volume is going to come back, like, you're at a huge discount here compared to the $2.20 or whatever hit an all-time high. That's really all we could do. My bad. I need to finish my coffee. He's live right now watching it. No, he's not. He's not live. This is him talking about the Dodgers. They're doing a rerun right now. I believe in aliens, so man, anything can be. Oh, well, there you go. Valid. Why is Maker pumping 20% right now? Can we see 74K Bitcoin again? Of course. 50x long ETH right now. I mean, it did touch the bottom of this trading panel this range we've been watching with you guys. Came right down to the bottom of it nearly at the 1426 level. Dude, ETH is just ugly, man. ETH is gone home, dude. As Benjamin Cowan said, ETH has gone home. I do like seeing this, by the way, on the Bitcoin dominance chart. You'll notice that we're getting a pretty strong rejection off the top of this range. So this does excite me a little bit, because usually when the Bitcoin dominance drops, it means that, you know, altcoins are running. And Bitcoin usually is still going up. It just means that, again, you're in a bit of a bullish trend there. And you'll notice that every time you hit that rejection, like the day or two afterwards, like the following, not too long after it touches the top of this channel, it dumps. Not too long. So that is a little bit promising. If it breaks out above this, I mean, end game, dude. That's like Bitcoin could be going to 73K. I mean, that's what happened this morning. But that is good that we are seeing a bit of a, hopefully, rejection there. Hopefully, you know. Daily's turning into like a Darth it's 50-50 here, dude. We need someone to speak who isn't worried about losing a job, but really should stop back. And I got it. We need someone to speak who is not worried about losing a job, but you really should stop back a bad person. Crypto and stock are not about that. We need good people. Don't fight these comments. Just digest. Are you saying chill? Is that what's happening? Is that a chill comment? Chat, help dissect. I'm breaking here. I'm breaking now. I need coffee. I need another iced tea. I need iced tea. Getting off the Celsius, dude. It's been crazy. I was drinking too much Celsius. I was drinking 2 a day. I had to get off of it. Now we're hitting the gym. The creatine's feeling good. Gotta hit the gym here tonight. Leg day, dude. Link for sure. Link all day. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here you go. Buying the dip on only one. Here we go. Morgan Powell asked us here. TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Answer this question. Morgan Powell goes, $1.99. By the way, this is Jerome Powell's son. Jerome Powell's son, the son of JP Morgan and Jerome Powell, buying the dip on only one. Aave, BitTensor, which is Tau, or Chainlink. What are you buying, guys? Chainlink, Tau, or Aave? Chainlink, Tau, or Aave? I will tell you, I am a Chainlink nerd. I'm a Chainlink Marine, man. Creatine is the best. Yeah, you just gotta be good with it. But I'm gonna work back up onto it. It's already feeling good, dude. Feeling back. It's feeling good, man. Every day is leg day. Well, I always do one leg workout and then Stairmaster, which I'll just go at for trying to get to just like 100 stairs, 100 levels in 15 minutes would be ideal. Which is not that hard, honestly, if you think about it, but it's pretty fucking intense. And once like I'll be good at that range. I think I'll feel good about myself. I bought the ETH dip, dude. Nice, man. Nice. Let me see if we got any breaking news coming out. Let's see. Cyber Coop. Honestly, okay. AI's onto something here, chat. AI's onto something here. This looks so much better than the Cybertruck. This looks, yes or no in chat. Does this look way better than the Cybertruck? I would drive this. I hate the Cybertruck. I think the Cybertruck is the bulkiest, ugly car I've ever seen. Like, the only way I like the Cybertruck a little bit is if it's all matted black. But this, dude, I would drive the shit out of this, dude. The only thing it needs here, though, it needs the butterfly wings. These are butterfly wings. But I fuck with this, dude. Is that real? No, it's AI. It's this. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's real. I don't think it's real though. I'm pretty sure this is just. I'm pretty sure this is just completely fake. You ever listen to Jake? I don't. I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't. Don't neglect. Show us. Yeah, I'll flip the camera around for TikTok. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Yes or no? Cyber coupe, not a truck. The coupe version. This, I don't know, dude. Gives me Back to the Future vibes. I kind of like it, dude. Kind of like it here. Not too bad. You showed he's on tonight. Is he a news? Is he an anchor? Joshua, can you answer my question? Who will pay the tariffs? Who will pay the tariffs, dude? Everybody knows who's gonna pay the tariffs. Everybody knows, dude. Everybody knows. It's gonna be an immediate tax on the consumer, right? But again, there's much more to that conversation than the American consumer. It's what happens. What is the purpose of tariffs, right? It is what is the purpose of tariffs? If I can answer that question, can you answer me this? What is the purpose of tariffs? Right? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why it's so hard to have that conversation with people. Is, you know, we all know it's an immediate tax, right? 20% increase. There you go. You can think of it. But again, if you look at historical data, look at Trump's first administration. He put 20% tariffs on China. That equated to only 0.7% inflation over 4 years. 0.7% up to 20% over 4 years. That means inflation rose at roughly 0.2% annually off a 20% tariff. So it's like, if we're going to have that conversation, it's just, you have to be also open up to saying, okay, if who pays the tariffs? Great. You know who pays the tariffs? What's the purpose of tariffs? That's the follow-up question there. No, it's not. Walmart already told its suppliers that its sellers will eat that the seller will eat tariffs. I mean, again, it's much more nuanced. It's just much more. It's a much larger conversation. It's a much larger conversation. I'm not a tariff expert whatsoever. I don't pretend to be, but I also know for a fact that Mark Cuban, who can't even tell you, Mark Cuban's out here advocating for men to compete in women's sports. I mean, if he can't even understand fair sports, I don't expect him to understand fair trade. So it's like I'm going to listen to the economists that are running the country right now, the ones we voted, the ones that we wanted in these positions. I have no reason not to believe their plans and strategies can work. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know though. I'm here to make money. I'm trying to make as much money as I possibly can. I think that's going to be within crypto. The same people telling me that I've been wrong. Like, great, dude. Cool. Told me I'm wrong for 3 months. I really don't give a shit. It's like I've been in Bitcoin since 3K. I've been in Ethereum since $250. It's like we go through this time and time and time again. And chat, you ready for this? You ready for this, chat? What is the one question? What is the one question everybody's going to be asking us when we're back at the top? What is the one question? Like today, cool, be fearful, insult, do whatever you want. But what is the one question the same people insulting today are going to be saying when we're back at the top again for the fourth cycle, fourth consecutive time, repeating history? What are they going to ask? There they go. The chat knows. You guys are fucking genius. I love it. Should I buy now? Is it too late to buy? Should I buy still? Is it too late to buy? Should I wait for another dip? Like, you guys got it. You guys got it, man. It happens every single time. Every single time. You're gonna get the family members talking to you. You're gonna get the friends talking to you. But the Bears, right? Let the Bears have their 3 months of moment, dude. The ones that told you not to buy at 3K, the ones that told you not to buy at 10K, the ones that told you not to buy at 15K, the ones that told you not to buy at 64K. Let those Bears have their moment for, being right that we should have not bought at 100K, right? Let them have their moment. Let them have their moment. It is their moment. You got me all hyped. It's just the truth. We've been doing this for 8 years. It's like, we built an entire media empire off of this. We've built, now we're doing crazy consultation and stuff that I've traveled the world here and spoken at conferences and met with literally not only billionaires, but some of the largest executives on the planet, dude. And it's like, we've gone from no executive wanting anything to do with crypto to the United States government not only want a Bitcoin strategic reserve, but opening up all the gateways and deregulating the space so foreign investments come back to the United States. You're not going to turn me bearish, dude. You're not going to turn me bearish. You're going to just only incentivize me and encourage me to want to build more. And that's where we're at. And then we're just going to go back. And Daddy, I mean, they built a lot of this. I took over BitBoy after he obviously completely collapsed this, but I still built over 1 million of my own followers on my own social platforms, dude. The only difference is I didn't decide to relapse on drugs and cheat on my wife with a fucking hooker. So, that's kind of where we're at. Anyways, anyone in doubt should hop in again, we rebuilt this from its ashes, man. Me and DZ and TJ, man, absolutely crushed it here. And all of you guys that stuck around to Discover Crypto, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the support. All the new people that have come in from this new market condition. You guys have been nothing but beautiful individuals. And I'm very excited that we are able to take this channel on a new path and I think do some really good in the crypto space. And I can't wait to share what you guys with what we've been working on over the last few months here. So there you go. That's I didn't mean to read that comment, dude, but I'm gonna defend ourselves, dude, all day, every day, man. Still at 78K Bitcoin though, and still waiting on Donald Trump to get done with his golfing tournament so we can hopefully see a press conference here. Let me see if there's any news breaking here. Live, just in, the Trump administration will begin negotiations with Japan, led by Secretary Scott Bessent, following the Trump's tariff announcement last week. That was just put out here. It's over. Wait, is this real? This is fake. Freak the fuck out and panic sell everything right now. It's fucking over. Warren Buffett. That's got to be fake, dude. That's got to be fake. Isn't this old? Uh-oh, guys. I think we got a bunch of fake news coming in. Go back up here. Oh, Trump team exporter tax. Let's go back to that. What was that? I like how this pulls out chair, but he pushed in the chair. Who cares, dude? Let's see what we got here. We got Vietnam offers to eliminate all tariffs. That was yesterday. Man, we'll give it like another 10 minutes, guys. But if there's no press conference, we're gonna wrap it up here with just some technical analysis. Fart Boy is pumping. What are the top movers here today? Get this. We're looking at yeah, dude, 20% off Altcoin, man. Altcoin just ripping, dude. Absolutely ripping. Top losers though? You know what we should look at? Chat? Let's have some fun. Let's customize this. Let's add the 30 and the 60 day in. We're going to apply changes here. Actually, we're going to go back to column, put up the 30 day, put up the 60 day. My goodness, I am breaking here. 30. Boom. Boom. And then we're going to sort this. Pi down. Oh my God, dude. Radium down 67%, Pi down 65%, Jupiter down 60%, Lida down 60%, Jasmine down 55%, official Trump coin down 54%. Dude, $7. That is disgusting. Top movers in the last 60 days. Even more sad. Wait, where is it? There it is. 4? Wait, what is 4? 4 form? Stories up 40%, 34%. Bloody markets out here, dude. Bloody markets, man. I heard that the 90 countries now have gave into Trump. Hope it wasn't fake news. There's, I think, reports that 50 plus countries are open to the negotiations. Yeah, a lot of them have come out and said that they're going to do zero tariffs. We'll see what happens. Negotiations are rolling up here. 68 ETH at an average of $2,400. Am I cooked? Not the worst, man. Not the worst. Man, dude. Man, oh man, oh man. I think the value of Trump coin tells you what you need to know about his support going down. I just think meme coins are shit, dude. He should never have launched a meme coin. I don't like Trump's meme coin at all. I don't like Trump's meme coin at all. Is it fine? Sure. But dude, Trump single-handedly destroyed all meme coins. Like, there's no hope for meme coins. I don't think there'll ever be a hope for, like, meme coins will still exist, dude, but between Melania, between Argentina's coin, between all of the Hayden Davis bullshit, dude, they literally just liquidity drained the F out of the meme coin market, dude. Unregulated casino just absolutely absorbed most of that liquidity. The only positive about that meme coin is you just know deregulation is going to take place because you know for a fact Donald Trump's not going to be held accountable for any inside trade or anything that went on with that. So if that makes you bullish on meme coins, okay, have fun with it, you know, but is what it is. Trump posted on True Social. Um, 21 minutes ago, this one right here. The opportunities to rebuild a global trading system in a way that works for the United States. Here we go.
Also, the opportunity on globalism to reverse it. EJ was talking about China. You know, they're still getting loans from the World Bank. I couldn't stop it. They're still getting debt restructurings. When they make a bad loan abroad, they get all their money back. And so the whole system is set up in a way that favors them and not the U.S.
Just pretty much position as they're taking down the globalists here. But let me see if there's another one here. 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago. I don't see one from like, maybe that was the post you're talking about?
Garden tours. I saw many of those photos.
Yeah, RSNBC is still waiting on it too. Dude, President Donald Trump meets with, yeah, so if they're, I'm going to imagine they are still speaking here today, guys. We're going to just wait on it. I'm not effing leaving, dude. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to get through this with you guys, okay? At the end of the day, we're all going to walk out of this together. That's funny. Pull up the live here. Are you longing or shorting this meeting or sitting? We're just sitting lightly right now, guys. We are just sitting tights. Been dollar cost averaging under 80K, making very few trades here. Yeah, that's really just where we've been sitting at. We've been just sitting at that right now. Once the market starts to get a good reversal, we'll start opening some longs again and actively trading. But yeah. Crying or smiling? Why not both? Did you get time to look into pure wallets? I did not, man. I have not yet. Unfortunately, in my batch, the last thing I have time for right now is looking up a new altcoin. I mean, I think you can understand with the market conditions, man. There's not necessarily a reason to look at new altcoins right now. That's the way. We're not freaking leaving. Josh, talk about the ledge with Arrow. I keep buying the dip, but dang. Yeah, so I mean, guys, like really, I can't predict the future. I have no idea how low these markets are gonna go. I could just go back to. I'm just gonna go back to what every successful investor is saying right now. Like every successful like multi-million-dollar asset management company, they don't sell when you're down 20%. What Warren Buffett says, like if you bought a stock at all-time highs, just sell it at all-time lows. You shouldn't participate in the stock market. The same thing goes for crypto. If you're somebody that bought in November or December at all-time highs and you're somebody that's looking to sell today at all-time lows, you shouldn't be in crypto. That's a harsh truth. It's a very harsh truth. If you can't stomach losing money, you're gonna make bad trades. You're gonna see. Dude, I've made multi-six figures. I've lost multi-six figures. Like we've watched portfolios go up and down. Things get stuck in staking where you can't take it down for 90 days or 180 days. And you watch it get stuck and you can't cycle out of a smart contract or token allocation, whatever it is, right? But to Warren Buffett's point, dude, it's serious. Like if you're like a Bitcoin, Link, Ondo, ETH, dude, I think these things are be here for 2, 3, 4 years. I don't think they're going anywhere, right? Like I'm investing in that long-term outlook. If you want to be someone that emotionally trades in and out of the market, you can. You could try to make that initiative, but 99% of people watching are just retail traders. You guys are investing. You're not traders, right? So it's like now that Bitcoin, let me just pull this out. Let's pull this out, okay? Go to one day. The press conference was canceled. I'm going to double check one more time in a second. But I'm getting mixed reviews on that. Some people are saying it's still on. Some people are saying it is. Bitcoin dropped 31%. 31%. Bitcoin dropped 31%. Everyone wanted to buy at all-time highs. Nobody wants to buy when you're 30% down, right? So what's the difference? What made you want to buy at the top versus what made you want to sell at the bottom? And if the answer is the hype made you want to sell at the top and the panic made you want to sell at the bottom, you're not someone that should be trading, because you want to be fearful when everybody else is greedy, and you want to be fearful when everybody is, or you want to be fearful when everybody's greedy. You want to be fearful or greedy when everybody else is fearful. The famous phrase there for you guys. He's live now. Here we go. You guys said it wasn't going to happen. Here we go.
Just saw your representative.
Guys, go to Discover Crypto
Department
YouTube.
of Justice fighting anti-Semitism, standing up for Israel in international forums. I just want you to know from the heart, it's deeply, deeply appreciated. As you said, we had the opportunity to talk today about many subjects. First, if I can mention tariffs, it's a subject of some interest today. I can tell you that I said to the president a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize the position of the United States. It says, you know, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And, you know, I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade. And I think that's basically the position that you have put forward, Mr. President. We are going to eliminate the tariffs, and rapidly. I had the opportunity to speak to Secretary Lutnick yesterday. We talked about how we could affect this quickly, and I hope to bring the solution very quickly. We're not talking about intentions. We're not talking about, just words. We're talking about results. And those results are going to come. That's the first.
Thank you very much. It's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, what about the hostages deal?
Well,
What about the
Let
hostages?
him
I didn't finish. I'm going to begin. We spoke about not only the hostages, but about Gaza. The hostages obviously is a human story of just unbearable agony. I speak to the families. I spoke to them yesterday. Spoke to another one when I was in Hungary before I came here. I speak to them every day, and they're in agony. The hostages are in agony, and we want to get them all out. Steve Witkoff, who's President Trump's very able representative, helped us get a deal that got 25 out. We're working now on another deal that we hope will succeed. And we're committed to getting all the hostages out, but also eliminating the evil tyranny of Hamas in Gaza, and enabling the people of Gaza to freely make a choice to go wherever they want. I mean, they should have that choice. And the president put forward a vision, a bold vision, which we discussed as well, including the countries that might be amenable and are amenable to accepting Palestinians of their free choice if they choose to go there. And I think that's the second thing that we discussed. But the hostages came right on top. We also discussed the situation in Syria. We've had neighborly relations with Turkey that have deteriorated, and we don't want to see Syria being used by anyone, including Turkey, as a base for attack in Israel. Turkey is a country that has a great relationship with the United States. The president has a relationship with the leader of Turkey. We discussed how we can avoid this conflict in a variety of ways, and I think we can't have a better interlocutor than the president of the United States for this purpose. And of course, we also discussed Iran. Look, we're both united in the goal that Iran does not ever get nuclear weapons. If it can be done diplomatically in a full way, the way it was done in Libya, I think that would be a good thing. But whatever happens, we have to make sure that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. That's the end of my speech.
We're having direct talks with, wait. We're having direct talks with Iran. And they've started, it'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are successful. And we hope that's going to happen. And we had just a lot of good talks on a lot of things. I appreciate very much what you said about the tariffs. We've been ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore. We can't be the stupid people anymore. And it's all because of the people that sat in the seat right here. Not your seat, but this seat. They allowed things to happen to our country that they shouldn't have allowed to happen on trade and other things, many other things. I mean, look at what's happened with our last president, where he allowed millions of people to come into our country with an open border. Who would want an open border? How stupid is that? But he allowed millions and millions of people, and of the millions, and I think it was 21 million people, but let's say 3 of them were serious criminals, serious murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from jails. All the jails emptied out right into our country, right along the open border on Mexico, generally the Mexico open. They came in from Canada too, by the way, a lot. But generally speaking, on the southern border. And what a shame it is that we are now working very hard to get them out, get the criminals out, get the murderers out, the drug dealers, the mentally insane, get them out. They dropped the mentally insane in our country too. And this was all done by the Biden administration. It's a disgrace that we have to work so hard. And then we have judges that try and protect these people, but they didn't protect us when the people were being let in. But to get them out is never easy with these people. So I think we're doing a great job. The border is the best it's ever been, it's even as strong as it was. I had a great, solid border. I think it might even be tougher right now and stronger. So people are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. We have a legal process, and we have that moving along properly because we need people to come into our country, but we want people that can love our country and cherish our country. So that's where we are. And with that, any questions?
Your reaction to the markets today, and would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many, many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals. As you know, I spoke this morning with the Prime Minister of Japan, and we had a very good conversation. They're coming. And I said, one thing, you're going to have to open up your country because we sold no cars, like 0 cars in Japan, and they sold millions of cars into our country. They don't really take our agriculture, a little bit of it just to keep us slightly happy, but they don't take what they're supposed to be taking. So we have a great relationship with Japan. We're going to keep it that way, but they're coming in to meet, and other countries are coming in. With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi. I hope it's going to stay that way. I have great respect for China, but they can't do this. We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do this, what I'm doing. And I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do it because we have been just destroyed what they've done to our system. You know, we have $36 trillion of debt for a reason. And the reason is that people allowed it to get that way. So we'll be talking to China. We'll be talking to a lot of different countries. And I think, you know, if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. That's now America first. And we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people that were in the Oval Office put America last, and we're not going to stand for it. Yeah.
Mr. President, who's going to
represent the U.S. in the talks with Iran?
Two questions. Do you expect any of these deals to be made before April 9th? And secondly, there have been some mixed messages from your administration. You're talking about negotiations, and yet others in your administration are saying that these tariffs are actually permanent. What's actually going on?
They can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs, and there can also be negotiations, because there are things that we need beyond tariffs. We need open borders. You know, we almost had a deal with China where we're going to open up China. It was almost done. Some of you remember it during my first term, and it was very disappointing. We ended up making a great deal. $50 billion worth of product was sold. $50 billion. You'd like that in Israel. And I made that deal, but it wasn't the deal that I wanted. It was the deal that I wanted was that, plus they were going to open up China so that our companies could go into China and compete with other countries and China for for a large number of people. And at the very end, that deal was terminated, and we went to a piece of the deal. And so there are a lot of things outside of tariffs, but tariffs are very important. But there are a lot of things like opening up countries that were totally closed. China's essentially a closed country. In fact, it is a closed country. And what they do is they charge tariffs so that if you sell cars or if you sell anything, nobody's going to buy it because the price is out of control. But that's true with a lot of other countries also. So we're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country. And if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate in the United States.
Mr. President, Mr. President, thank you for the chance. Many of Palestinian Americans who voted for you and not for Biden because you've promised them to end the war in Gaza.
Very honored by that vote, too.
The war is still going on and there's no hostage deal. Do you have any update on that?
Well, I'd like to see the war stop. And I think the war will stop at some point that won't be in the too distant future. Right now, we have a problem with hostages. We're trying to get the hostages out. We got quite a few of them out, but it's a long process. It shouldn't be that long. We have a big problem that we've done. I think I'll ask Pete to maybe talk about it for a second, because a lot of people are asking. The Houthis, we've been very tough and very successful militarily. We've really damaged them badly. These were people shooting down ships and other things, by the way, flying objects like airplanes. And we've put a major hurt on the Houthis, which nobody's been able to do. We've really hit them hard, and they know it, and they don't know what to do. And it's every night, night after night. And we've gotten many of their leaders and their experts. They're experts on missiles. I mean, they actually make missiles. Nobody thought that, but they make missiles. It's highly sophisticated, and they're very tough, but they've been very badly damaged. Nobody else was able to do that but us. Pete, you want to discuss that, please?
Yes, sir. It's been a bad 3 weeks for the Houthis, and it's about to get worse. It's been a devastating campaign, whether it's underground facilities, weapons manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets. We are not going to relent. And it's only to get more unrelenting until the Houthis declare they will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear at the Iranians as well. They should not continue to provide support to the Houthis, and that message has been made very clear. So we have a lot more options and a lot more pressure to apply, and we know, because we see the reports, how devastating this campaign has been in them, and we will not relent.
We have a great military. There's no military like our military, and despite Biden having given a lot, but nevertheless a pretty small piece, but it was a lot of our military away in Afghanistan, and one of the dumbest situations, I think, and maybe the most embarrassing situation we've ever been involved in, that short period of time in Afghanistan. What a disgrace that was, but left a lot of our military behind, left. You see them in their annual parades where they're parading trucks that are armor plated and different things that they can't, but it's many billions of dollars we left behind. But despite that, we have a tremendous military. That was a very small portion, because we rebuilt the military during my first term, and we have great things happening with our military. We also essentially approved a budget, which is in the facility, you'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion. And nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to be strong because you got a lot of bad forces out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget, and I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest one we've ever done for the military. We're cutting other things that were under Doge, but under a lot of other. When you look at a woman getting $2 billion for environmental, and it had nothing to do with environmental, and they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out. But we are getting a very powerful military. We have things under order now, the likes of which we've never had before. We've never had the kind of aircraft, the kind of missiles, anything that we have ordered. And it's in many ways too bad that we have to do it, because hopefully we're not going to have to use it. But the military is very powerful, and it's going to remain that way.
How do you ensure
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yelling's crazy.
I want to ask you about Iran, because this is the first time we hear that the U.S. is having a direct contact with the Iranians. Is it possible to give us some more information at what level the U.S. is
High level,
represented?
very high level. Yeah.
And
We're dealing with the Iranians. We have a very big meeting on Saturday, and we're dealing with them directly. You know, a lot of people say, oh, maybe you're going through surrogates or you're not dealing directly, you're dealing through other countries. No, we're dealing with them directly, and maybe a deal is going to be made. That'll be great. It'll be really great for Iran, I can tell you that. But hopefully, we're not going to have to get into that. We are meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level. We'll see how it works out. Please.
How do you ensure, Mr. President, that these tariffs don't drive U.S. trading partners into the hands of the Chinese? That they
I'm
don't.
not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. If they want to be in the hands of the U.S., they don't want to be in the hands of the Chinese. The Chinese have turned out to be really not very good at that. People that are with us, they're with us, but we cannot be taken advantage of any longer. I used to watch these deals for years. I've been talking about it for years. You know, I've been talking about it for 35 years, how our country is being ripped off. I mean, 30 years ago it was Japan, then it was something else, then it was another group, then it was China. China's doing the best job of it, frankly. And it's just not going to happen, not going to happen.
Mr. President, the EU has said that they have offered 0 for 0 tariffs on cars and industrial goods. Is that not enough?
Well, the EU, no, it's not. The EU has been very tough over the years. I always say it was formed to really do damage to the United States in trade. That's the reason it was formed. It was formed with all of the countries from Europe, I guess most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And they formed together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create a unified force against the United States for trade. So they have NATO, which is largely the same countries, and they took advantage of us dollar-wise and militarily until I got there. You know, I was able to get $600 billion from NATO, where they paid NATO because most of these nations weren't even paying. We were paying for NATO. So we're paying them to guard them militarily, and they're screwing us on trade. So that's not a good combination. So now it's really turned around. It's the opposite. And the European Union's been very bad to us. They don't take our cars, like Japan in that sense. They don't take our agricultural product. They don't take anything practically. And yet they send millions of cars in a year, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs. They're sending millions and millions of cars into the U.S., but we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union or other places, but let's go for the European Union. And it's not going to be that way. It's got to be fair and reciprocal. It's got to be fair. It's not fair. We have a deficit with the European Union of $350 billion. And it's going to disappear fast. And one of the reasons and one of the ways that can disappear easily and quickly is they're going to have to buy our energy from us because they need it. They're going to have to buy it from us. They can buy it. We can knock off $350 billion in 1 week. They have to buy and commit to buy a like amount of energy. And we have that. You know, we have more energy than any country in the world. I don't know if you know that. He knows everything. But the one thing he may not know, we have more energy than any country in the world. We have more of every kind of energy, every form of energy, from oil and gas to coal. And people talk about, I call it beautiful, clean coal. As you know, Germany is opening up a coal plant a week. They tried the windmills and it didn't work. They tried all the other solutions and they were ready to go out of business. Now they're doing a coal plant a week. China is now up to 2 coal plants. They're opening 2 major coal plants every single week in China, all over China. And then we're not allowed to use coal. Well, we have clean, beautiful coal more than anybody else. We have oil and gas more than anybody else. We have the most energy of any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including everybody, by a lot. And I took it to number 1. We were number 3, and I took it to number 1 during my administration. And the reason that we were hurt so badly and the reason that we went into such incredible inflation during Biden is energy. It was also their bad spending, but energy, because they played around with this incredible thing that we had built, this administration had built, and the energy costs went through the roof. And when that went up, everything else followed. Now, if you look at what's happening, you got to see this today. I said, we're going to try and get groceries down, right? An old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term. Eggs. So when I got in, the press went absolutely crazy the first week. They said, eggs have quadrupled in price. I said, I just got here. Tell me about it. And Brooke Rollins and our team did a great job. And eggs are down now 79%, and they're all over the place. And this was a problem that somebody else would have taken a long time to cure. We have energy is down. We have interest rates are down. We have groceries, meaning food is down. We have everything is down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. Energy looks like it's going to be in the $2.50 a gallon range and maybe below that for a car. So for gasoline. So we're really doing amazing. I mean, we're cutting prices because prices got so high, people couldn't live. I mean, the prices for groceries, the prices for standard groceries, standard things were going through the roof. They couldn't live. And now those prices are coming down. So call them groceries, but that's down, energy's down, and interest rates are down. Everything's down. And the interest rates, the beauty there is when we refinance debt, you know, debt's become such a big factor in this country. We're going to start paying debt off with tariffs and other things. But it's such a big factor because the interest rate's so high. Well, now that's coming way down. So our budget's going to look a lot better because interest costs are way down. And I guess I've done that.
Many Israelis are watching you now on live show.
Good.
What is your specific way of getting the hostages out from the horrific captivity?
We are trying very hard to get the hostages out. We're looking at another ceasefire. We'll see what happens. But we want to get the hostages out. The Israeli people want the hostages out more than anything. They want the hostages out. This man is working very hard with us to do that. I mean, I don't know. I hope he's being appreciated because he's been a great leader. He's working very, very hard on the hostages and many other things. And there are plenty of things you have to work on. It's a tough place in the world, isn't it?
I have a good partner.
Yeah, you do have a good partner, and so do we. We're working very hard on the hostages.
If you're going to negotiate a new deal with Iran, can you elaborate how it's going to be more effective than the JCPOA?
Well, I can't really say that, but I think it'll be different and maybe a lot stronger. But they were so happy when we made that first deal because we did get a lot out. You know, I had people right in this office, this beautiful Oval Office. They came in, 10 people, hostages, you know that. And I said to them, so how was it? And the stories they told me, I mean, as an example, I said to them, was there any sign of love? You were there, 10 people. It's only 10, but it's pretty representative. Did the Hamas show any signs of like help or liking you? Did they wink at you? Did they give you a piece of bread extra? Did they give you a meal on the side, like, you know, you think of doing? like what happened in Germany, what happened elsewhere. People would try and help people that were in unbelievable distress. They said no. I said, all of them. I said, did they ever wink at you like, you'll be okay? You're going to be okay? No, they didn't do that. They'd slap us. The hatred is unbelievable. And the lives, you know, they lived in a pipe, not really a tunnel, it was a pipe. And they always thought they were suffocating. They were going to suffocate. And then they'd open up the pipe and it was like 3.5 feet high. This isn't, you know, we hear tunnels bad, but pipes are worse. And the stories I heard were incredible. But I just said, was there any sign of potential love or affection? And there were none whatsoever. It was amazing to me. There was nothing like, here, take this, it's a little extra meal or something. They lived like hell. I don't know. They seemed to be, they were amazing to me because they seemed to be pretty normal. They weren't scarred, but I guarantee underneath they have to be scarred. And one was there for 356 days. Another was there for about 180 days, you know, a long time. These are people that have been really, really horribly treated. I've never seen anything like it, actually. I was very surprised to hear the answer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are there 2 or 3 countries that are on your list that you feel are farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as badly as they've treated us, they brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5, and I hear maybe to nothing. But it's not only tariffs, it's non-monetary tariffs. It's tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult, the standards and the tests. They drop a bowling ball on the top of your car from 20 feet up in the air. And if there's a little dent, they say, no, I'm sorry, your car doesn't qualify. When the same car from Germany or anything would dent likewise, unless you can have an army tank, it's going to dent. So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't sell your product in those countries. And we're not going to let that happen. Those are called non-monetary barriers. They make barriers that are so tough that it's impossible to qualify. So tariffs are a big part of it, but there's another big part of it, and that's barriers. They also do something else. They manipulate their currency, and they drive it down. They want to have low currencies. You know, it sounds better to have a high currency, a strong dollar or whatever, but they bring their currency down, and when it competes with our currency, it's very hard to sell a tractor.
Hello? Or the audio.
And so it makes it very hard. I speak to a lot of companies that do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard to sell because what they've done is they've lowered the yen or they've lowered the yuan or they've lowered their currency so that it's very hard to compete. We don't want that either. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about, but we're going to fix it properly, and it's going to be fair to everybody. And in the end, I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, you know, but they have to respect the United States. And nobody but me would do this. Nobody but me would do this. You know, it would be nice to serve, a nice, easy term, but we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade. We lose billions of dollars. We lose close to $2 trillion a year on trade. We lose $1 trillion a year to China. $1 trillion. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade to China. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars overall, probably close to $2 trillion. Why would we do that? Number one, why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable? Then you hear about all of the people that say, well, deficits, if we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that. I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military. I don't want them spending money on their military. And I shouldn't have to spend money. We shouldn't have to spend it either. Because, you know, hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have. We don't want that. So It's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table, because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end, but we are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this, 90,000, you wouldn't think it's possible. 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA, which was, by the way, the worst trade deal ever developed, ever had by any country anywhere, NAFTA. And I terminated NAFTA. Everybody said it would be impossible. And I terminated it through Congress. We terminated it. You had to get it through Congress. It was a trap. It was a horrible thing. And we got it done. And we went to the USMCA, which was much better. The problem is they cheat. They cheat like crazy. Canada cheats, Mexico cheats, just one of those things. But we are resetting a table, and we're going to have great trade, and we're going to have a very strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has maybe never been, or maybe, you know, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based. We had no income tax. Then in 1913, some genius came up with the idea of let's charge the people of our country, not foreign countries that are ripping off our country. And the country was never that kind of wealth. We had so much wealth, we didn't know what to do with our money. We had meetings, we had committees, and these committees worked tirelessly to study one subject. We have so much money. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to give it to? And I hope we're going to be in that position again.
Mr. President, do you plan to reduce the tariffs that your government put on Israeli goods, 70%?
On where?
On Israeli goods.
The 17%. Do you plan?
Well, we're talking about a whole new trade. Maybe not. Maybe not. Don't forget, we help Israel a lot. You know, we give Israel $4 billion a year. That's a lot. Congratulations, by the way. That's pretty good. But we give Israel billions of dollars a year. Billions. It's one of the highest of, and we give a lot of countries money. You wouldn't believe it if I said we give Afghanistan a lot of money. Do you? Because that was a Biden deal, another Biden deal. Not only did he embarrass us with that, but they give them billions of dollars, Afghanistan, right? So, but no, we take good care of our friends, and we don't take care of our enemies. We're not taking care of our enemies anymore, but we do take care of our friends.
Laser Berman from the Times of Israel. The IDF is fighting again in the Gaza Strip. I myself might be called up in a month. Do you think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? And do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also an effective pressure tactic?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in, but you know, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place. It's you know what I call it, a great location that nobody wants to live in, because they really don't. And when they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? not good.
Is the immigration, Mr. President, is the immigration plan still on the agenda?
Which immigration?
The Trump, the Trump. Gaza.
All it is a concept that I had that I think is good, and now people are copying it. You know, maybe you want to tell people are talking about the Trump plan. Gee, why don't we do that? Would you like to answer that question?
I think what the president talked about is, first of all, to give people a choice. You know, Gazans were closed in, and every other place, including in arenas of battle. I mean, whether it's Ukraine or Syria or any other place, people could leave. Gaza was the only place where they locked them in. We didn't lock them in. They're locked in. And what is wrong with giving people a choice? Now, we've been talking, including over lunch, about some countries, I won't go into them right now, that are saying, you know, if Gazans want to leave, we want to take them in. And I think this is the right thing to do. If you give, you know, it's going to take years to rebuild Gaza. In the meantime, people can have an option. The president has a vision. Countries are responding to that vision. We're working on it. I hope we'll have good news for you.
Mr. President,
I will say people love, excuse me, people really do love that vision. It's a long-term vision, but so importantly is to have that be a safe field, because you're right smack in the middle of the Middle East. You're right along Israel. It should have never, ever been given away. Shouldn't have been given away by Israel. I don't know why they did it. I mean, I do know why, because they were promised peace, but that didn't work out too well, because it's one of the most dangerous pieces of land anywhere in the world. Gaza is one of the most dangerous places in the world. So they gave it away for a good intention, and it didn't work out that way. And a lot of people like my concept, but, you know, there are other concepts that I like too. And there's some concepts I don't like. You know what I don't like? The way it is now. Because right now it's a dangerous death trap, Gaza. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Can you talk a little bit about your potential meeting with Vladimir Putin? Do you still plan to meet with him? Could that happen in Saudi Arabia? And maybe you could elaborate as well a little bit on not providing tariffs on Russia, sir.
So the reason we're not talking about tariffs with Russia is because we're not doing business essentially with Russia, because they're in a war. And I'm not happy about what's going on with the bombing, because they're bombing like crazy right now. They're bombing. I don't know what's happening there. That's not a good situation. So we're meeting with Russia. We're meeting with Ukraine, and we're getting sort of close. But I'm not happy with all the bombing that's going on the last week or so. Horrible. It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing.
Can countries negotiate to get below 10%?
In terms of
In terms
tariffs?
of tariffs, yes.
Look, we've been ripped off and taken advantage of for 40, 50, 60 years. And the reason we got ripped off and the way they did it was tariffs. They would charge tariffs, massive numbers of dollars. And when you look at China, when I took over, it was at $507 billion they were making. I call it making. A lot of people say, oh,
Dude,
it
these
doesn't mean anything,
reporters
having a
ask the
surplus.
stupidest
It means
questions.
a lot, in my opinion. It's almost
Jesus,
like a profit or loss statement. And when I took over, it was $507 billion that China was, this is originally, first term. And we were very, very tough on them because they were taking that money and they were building a military with it. Then when Biden came in, he let them get away with murder. He had no idea. I'll tell you what, that man had no idea what was happening, whether it was the border or China or anything else. He had no idea what was going on. And they went wild. China went wild. And the money they make is ridiculous, okay? It's just not going to happen. And hopefully we'll get along with China. If we do, that's great. And if we don't, that's okay too. But we can't let that continue, because that's an abuse. They abused.
No, they didn't.
That poor Biden.
The reporters have been dumb for years.
They took advantage.
The ones under the
of him.
Biden
I'm
administration
surprised.
are even worse.
You know,
dude.
they have smart people.
Like,
they were
they're
radical
asked
left
layup
lunatics,
questions.
but they're smart. I'm surprised they'd allow that to take.
I'll explain in a second.
To happen. But we are going to bring great trade, and we're going to be fair to other countries. And I will say this.
They didn't even have press conferences under the last.
Virtually every country wants to negotiate. If I didn't do what I did over the last couple of weeks, You wouldn't have anybody wants to negotiate. We would have gone to these countries, you want to talk? And they were, well, we don't want to talk. Now they're coming to us. They're offering things like even Bibi, and this is unrelated because it's a different kind of a relationship. But he started off our conversation today that he's cutting all of the tariffs. He's cutting everything. He's going to get down to a free base. He's going to do things that, in all fairness, other countries, if they said that, would have never even thought about doing it. Now they're offering things to us that we would have never even thought of asking them for because they're experiencing a lot of hurt. And the hurt is that they've taken advantage of us and we finally fought back. Tariffs will make this country very rich. We're rich anyway, but we're rich in a certain way. We have $36 trillion in debt. I want to get rid of it. And we can do it quickly with proper deals. So when countries don't allow us to sell our product, but we allow them to sell their product, when they charge us massive amounts of money for the privilege of going into their country, those days are over. Okay.
Me?
Sure.
Me?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, two questions, please. First, if you can give us more details about where the meeting on Saturday is going to
I
take
can't tell
place.
you that. I can just tell you there's a major meeting going on between us and Iran, and that'll take place on Saturday, and it's at top level.
And the second question about this. A lot of people think that those talks are not going to lead anywhere because the Iranians
Maybe
will
right.
never give up their nuclear program.
I think
If
it's a
diplomacy fails, is the United States under your leadership ready to take military action to destroy the Iranian nuclear program and remove this threat?
I think if the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran's going to be in great danger. And I hate to say it, great danger, because they can't have a nuclear weapon.
So is that a yes?
You know, it's not a complicated formula. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's all there is.
So is
Can't
the
have
US
it.
ready?
Right now, we have countries that have nuclear power that shouldn't have it. But I'm sure we'll be able to negotiate out of that too as part of this later on down the
How
line.
stupid of a question.
But Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if the talks aren't successful, I actually think it'll be a very bad day for Iran if that's the case. Yeah.
Mr. President, on manufacturing, Mr. President.
Mr. President, was October 7th the death blow of the two-state solution? And would you consider classifying the Palestinian Authority as a terrorist organization for its continued pay-for-slay terror financing payments?
So October 7th was a horrible day that some people, they deny it. Now, I can't believe they deny it from the standpoint of it. They do it because they think it's good politically. But October, I've seen the tapes. I've seen things that you don't want to see. October 7th was a horrible day, and it will go down as one of the really bad days in the history of the world. It was a horrible, horrible thing that happened. And they grabbed some of these people. I'll give you an example. When I was with the 10 hostages a few weeks ago, I said, so how many are there? 59.
And that bugs me.
I said, oh, so 59, so we can get 59. They sort of knew the territory pretty good. And I said, how are they doing? They said, well, only 24 are living, the rest are dead. And these are young people largely. Young people don't die. You know, young people have an amazing ability to live. They can live through horrible things, but these are young people. And when they said that 24 are living and the rest are dead. And, you know, I've had parents come up, Israeli parents largely. We have some Americans, and I guess we.
They're bad questions. I'm not saying they're bad questions. It's these questions have been asked a million times. Like a good question, for example, they asked about the tariffs, 10 times in this interview, and they're the same question 10 different times. The reason why they're asking the same way is very obvious. The reporter themselves wants to get it down on paper that they asked the question for their headline and their story. You guys are 100% correct. That is the problem I have with the press. They're asking questions for the most amount of clickbait rather than asking real journalistic questions. So what's a good question to ask? Hey, Donald Trump, based off your tariff implementations, there is no historical data or models to go off of it. Therefore, you have 12 Nobel Prize winning economists going against you saying that this is going to be damaging to the American consumer. Can you explain why, based off your research, what Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, and your advisory is telling you that shows that the data is different, that shows us that these tariffs on a long end of 2 to 5 years are going to benefit the middle class, and how? That's a much more in-depth, direct question. The problem is it's not a headline question, and they want the vague headline experience with the vague headline response so they can have it for their article. That would be a journalistic question. Another question. Hey, Donald Trump, you guys are talking about, sovereign wealth funds. A sovereign wealth fund based off of foreign wealth funds that have been established are built off of having a net surplus in our economy. What pathway do you see to getting us to have a surplus in the economy? And how do tariffs, play into that goal? Like, you could ask more structured conversations that are going to force Trump to give you a better or more direct answer rather than these vague, big, beautiful tariffs, big, beautiful bill. It's like, I want that direct information.
Many, many companies.
But that takes time.
Many from Taiwan. What?
It takes time to fully manufacture products here in the U.S.
Are you telling me? Yeah, it takes time. You got to build a thing called a factory. You have to build your energy. You have to do a lot of things. I'm giving them energy. We're going to let them build their own power plants. They'll be their own. Essentially, they're going to be in charge of the power plant because our power is not reliable enough. You have a grid that's old and susceptible to a lot of things, including bombing and weather and a lot of other things. And we're going to give them record timing in terms of approvals of electric plants. Most of them want to build electric plants. We need massive amounts of electricity if we're going to compete with China and others. And interestingly, we're way ahead right now in the AI race with China. But the way we lose that race is if we can't give them electric. But we have more plants being built. We have everything. We're doing so great. And we want to keep it that way. And tariffs will be an important part of it. But one of the other things, Lee Zeldin's doing a fantastic job, head of environmental protection. And he's doing very rapid approvals for people to get, for big companies that are going to build a plant that's going to cost billions of dollars. And we're going to get them their approvals. They have to be environmentally perfect, everything good, but they're going to be in record time, a matter of months versus a matter of many, many years.
But in the meantime,
Lisa Rozowski from Haaretz. Turkey claims it will stabilize the situation in Syria.
Turkey?
Yeah. Israel doesn't want Turkey to influence Syria. What do you think? Do you think Turkey's influence in Syria can actually make it a better, more peaceful country, or vice versa?
Well, I have great relations with a man named...
I'm not even going to listen to that answer. Do you think you could have good relationships with a foreign nation? What do you think he's going to say, chat? That's my point. And why am I not there, guys? Well, obvious reasons. It is very costly to get to that position. You have to not only apply for the White House press pass, you have to go through a bunch of different credentials and compete with another 10,000 other independent journalists. So not as simple as applying and getting access to the White House. Second of all, why when I run, someone said like, Josh, why don't you run for office if you think I'm so smart? I do not believe I am so smart. I think I'm way too young and nowhere near wise enough to have any response to this, but I am definitely smart enough than the reporters here that I actually want to get answers. I want to actually ask questions that I think are deserve to be answered. That's the focus on that, dude. I do not want to. I don't know, dude. Politics are so corrupted. I do not want to get into that game. I would help with advisory and stuff on the back end. I'd never, ever want to be up there. Let them speak. I will in a second, dude. I will in a second. They just asked this. They asked the question about Turkey literally 30 minutes. Trump's friends with the world leaders. He says it every time. Yeah, he's going to say, fascinating question. He's going to say he has a great relationship, yada, yada, yada. Here you go.
Guy, he's very smart. And he did something that nobody was able to do. You got to hand it to him. Any problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can solve. I mean, as long as you're reasonable. You have to be reasonable. We have to be reasonable. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yep. So there you have it, guys. There you have it. Yeah. I mean, look, you got the basic tariff questions. You got the basic, you support Israel. They ask the big questions. And guys, I don't believe Trump will answer the hard questions. I don't believe this is at all on their team. I think it's just the competitiveness it takes to get into White House. I mean, there's probably 20 reporters in that room. So you're going to be competing not only with the largest donors, but the ones that have all the credentials, the most credibility, et cetera, yada, yada, whatever you want to classify it. It's very competitive to get into those positions. I'm definitely trying to. Hopefully you'll see me in those positions here one day. But ultimately, yeah, it's just nothing came out of that. You know, you could they just should ask better questions. That's all I'm saying. If you have 4 reporters in the room, ask, hey, what's your response to, you know, other countries on tariffs? Are you willing to negotiate? And then it's like, well, yeah, they've said they've been willing to negotiate nonstop for the last 6 months. They've been saying they're willing to negotiate every single press conference that you've asked. So that's not changed. So why don't you ask a more direct, more intellectual, like, question with data points? If you bring data points, it makes you look even smarter as a journalist. And I honestly think they will answer. Because if they don't, by the way, then you're going to go viral on Twitter or viral on X or viral on TikTok, because then it's like, oh, well, then Donald Trump's evading questions from report. You know, like I would not be. I don't think that's at all the case. I don't think that's at all the case at all. I've heard intelligent questions asked. I've heard very intelligent questions asked at those conferences, especially through the press secretary. So I don't think it's a White House problem of them. They're looking at the question saying you can ask this, you can ask. I think it's a journalistic problem. I think the media over the last 8 years has turned into a massive propaganda machine, both on the left and the right. This isn't a partisan. This is a bipartisan issue where Fox News, CNN, both sides, what they feed into is the headline narratives. So cats and dogs, they're eating the cats and dogs, illegal MSN-13 immigration, you know, World War III, Trump session, right? They lead into whatever headline principle there is, because that's what's going to generate the most amount of clicks and the most amount of views, which gives them the most amount of advertisement. And since mainstream media is dying, they have to do what's best for their advertisers, or else they have no company. They have no job. So it's moved away from this independent journalistic like voice, which is it's gonna take probably 4 to 8 years to cycle in some independency, because a lot of the independent journals that are starting to get popular today still don't have the funding or the credibility or the background of these White House press groups and everything that exists. So it's going to take some time to level that field. But if you guys think you can't answer good questions, no. It's just we don't have good journalists, and there's a big difference between the two. Anthony Weiner showed his wiener, and yeah, I can't believe you just brought that up. Crypto Lulu, you don't want to tell anyone. What is this? I gotta pull these up. I can't read with my eyes. You don't want anyone telling you how to run your channel. So how can you tell these reporters what questions to ask? People think differently from you, Josh. I don't know. I think that was a terrible take, dude. Like, nice, you got me, Crypto too. Yeah, I'm telling you, as someone that reports, as a reporter, as someone that does a lot of journalism, I would like to ask way better questions. Yeah, my bad, homie. My bad, dude. I'm sorry I offended you. That's great. That's crazy. It's called fake journalism. They have to obey their brainwash networks. Yeah, it's also just they don't. It's just, yeah. It's the whole market, man. It's the whole market. Ramen for 3 months. Good thing a third of my comments are blocked. More stable, and I thought it would be. Who are these guys in chat? We got both sides, guys. I mean, it's just people aren't going to agree with me. That's okay. That's completely okay, dude. I completely am okay with that. I'm constantly up here debating every single day. But I mean, at the end of the day, my entire job, guys. I mean, my entire perspective is like, how do I make the most amount of money in this cycle? It's why I'm building FOMO.io, which we're launching our products here soon, which is just it's the Bloomberg terminal it's so badass. Just for all your crypto news, all your indicators, everything. That's why we're building in the space. It's why we consult, it's why we travel, it's why we speak, it's why we educate. Yeah, I truly believe in crypto. I truly believe in Bitcoin. I truly believe in a lot of these altcoins. I believe in tokenization. I believe in real assets. I think we're going to make a lot of money participating in this. I've made a lot of money over the last 2 cycles. I plan on making a lot of money over the next 2. You know, so it's, but that's what makes a free market. That's what's beautiful. That's why you have buyers and you have sellers. If everybody agreed with each other, everybody would buy. So it's, no matter what market you're participating in, you're going to have people that disagree with your perspectives and your opinions. That's why all we can do is navigate it, adjust to more data points as it comes in, continue to roll through this, continue to grow, continue to establish, continue to build. And dude, we keep crushing it, man. We just keep building and creating it. It's a great time. And I love everybody that's in these chats. I love all the support. haters and lovers. Dude, we get along just fine, man. Let's go, baby. Trump won't listen to a 30-second question. He will, man. It's just they're not asked. It's just if a reporter asks a data point, for example, Scott Bessent says that your 20% tariffs off China in your first 4 years of your term created only 0.7% inflation over the course of your administration. If that's the case, and we were to take those same metrics into this following term, slapping 100% tariff on a country like China would mean you're going to look at a 2.8% increase in inflation over 4 years of your administration. If that's the case, and you guys are worried about inflation outpacing wages and workers in the American economy, why are you guys so strict about the tariffs that you're looking to embed on the Chinese culture? And I could phrase that question way better, but you could see how I'm taking Trump's own data points and asking him the same question. I'm saying, hey, based off your data points, that would give us inflation of this metric. And if we have inflation of this metric, that hurts Americans. So how do you see this metric not playing out? And it's like, it takes a little bit of, and I would not be good at it at first at all. Dude, you put me in the White House press room, dude, my heart's going to be going, are you kidding me? Dude, it's like, there's moments you got to learn how to be in that room. You're going to be with other reporters, like, dude, you're going to be with CNN, Fox News, like whether you like their channels or not, you're in the belly of the beast, homie. There's going to be nerves there. So I would love to do it. I'll figure it out one day. We'll see if we can get into it, man. I would love to get in the White House press room, but it'll be, just takes, it's a whole nother learning curve that I never participated in. Only on the first day, Josh? Yeah, maybe I'm only on the first day. Maybe it takes a few tries, maybe I knock it out of the park with a, fantastic question. But yeah, I mean, either way, I'm not even close to getting into the White House. Dude, that when they opened up the application form, I think like 30,000 people have applied for it now. So we're going to figure out how to get in, man. We're going to figure out how to get in. Josh, are you really trying to say that what is this? That the conference went well? Josh, are you really trying to say that the conference went well? I don't know where you're even. One, you misspelled conference terribly. You spelt it with a K and forgot the C in the end of there. So yikes. But no, the conference just went completely vague. This was as expected. Like the reporters asked 4 different questions, 16 different ways, and that was it. Let's see what we got here. In a few months, we'll have all-time highs. Potentially, man. That'd be insane. So do you believe buying now will be good for the cycle in the next? Yeah. So for me, I mean, I'm personally, and I'm not guys, not a financial advisor. So do your own research, take this to how you want to count. But I personally think right now is a great dollar cost average opportunity. I think anything under 80K, we weren't buying above 80K. Anything under 80K is great for DCA. I think in 6 to 12 months, we're going to be back towards 6,000 on the SPX. You're going to see most of your altcoins rebound, and you're going to be definitely up more than you'd be down. And I think the people that are buying and dollar cost averaging today are the ones that are going to be taking profits when everybody else comes back into the top of the cycle this next time around, and they ask, is it too late to buy? And you guys are, a lot of you, this is your first cycle, and you're going to experience this for the first time. For me, this is the 3rd cycle. So you're just going to, it happens every single time. Everybody wants to buy and tell you you're crazy for wanting to sell at all-time highs. And then when you're at the bottom, everyone wants to tell you to sell and that you're crazy for believing that markets are bottoming. And it's just a cyclical rotation of retail reactionary market metrics. So, and you're not going to time the top. You're not going to time the bottom. It's almost impossible to. You're going to have good moments. I got lucky and timed the exact top of the AI bubble. I sold the exact day, March 17, 2023, sold over $100,000 worth of our AI tokens on TikTok, live in Telegram. That was part of it was because I just went to a conference. I saw people driving Lamborghinis and doing donuts in the parking lot. Part of it was because AI tech experts were telling me they had no idea what the valuation of their stock should be. But we sold the exact day. And so you're going to make great trades and investment decisions, over a course of, your investment journey, but you're also going to make terrible ones. Look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett lost like $4 or $5 billion on a trade back in the early 2000s. He's going to make $1 billion mistakes. The only reason why he's able to make $1 billion mistakes is because he's made $1 billion success stories. So, it's just the growth pain of any market rotation and growth pain of any market cycle. Let's see what we got. I can't read these. Started buying ETH today. Buy orders until $1,800. $800 would be crazy. Ethereum's just been getting crazy. Crazy. Trump is genius. In a few months, economy will be busting. Maybe, maybe not. I could tell you one thing right now. If the economy does end up booming in the next 3 to 6 months, Democrats are shooting themselves in their feet right now. They got to be cautious with how much they're fear mongering, dude. Because if it turns into a success story, this is going to just end up being one another. They don't realize the political game that's being played there either. Like Chuck Schumer and all of them that are doing the anti-oligarch stuff right now. The Democrats need. This is why I think Gavin Newsom. It'll be completely new political leaders. Like Gavin Newsom's not even a Democratic leader right now. He kind of does his own thing in California. But I'm telling you, midterms come around, you're probably going to be looking at Newsom starting to run. I don't know if Harris can actually win governorship in California. We'll see. But the Democratic Party is going to do a complete rebrand. They have to. They're going to do it within 2 years. Probably before. My guess is before midterms. My guess is the minimum. I mean, it's already technically happening. The fact that Gavin Newsom had on Charlie Kirk on his first podcast is because he understands. He didn't have Charlie Kirk on because he's going to change parties. He had Charlie Kirk on because he wants to attack the independent party. He wants to get them back on his side. So it's like 2028 election cycle, guys, starts now. I don't know if you guys know that, but there's a whole, it's a timeline of events, and they're going to start doing polls and readjusting and recalculating. They're going to come into midterms, try to get the House and the Senate. If they get the House and the Senate, or the House or the Senate, they're going to try to impeach Donald Trump on the 1st of 2027. That means Donald Trump with tariffs has to do everything this year and next year because come 2027, he's not going to be able to get anything through the floor. So they're going to cut, pretty much, they're going to stop him at where it is. So you're looking at 2 years of insane politics. This is going to be, especially with what Trump's doing with like literally tariffs and everything. Man, oh man, it's going to be a crazy ride here. Art of the deal, lose everything. Dezel, we're not launching a product, but Duke's still the profile. He's still the mascot. Dems are officially abandoning the working class. Like there's no utility to Duke, if that makes sense. It's 100% fair launch owned by the it's a meme coin. Dems, man, God, I should bring my glass. Dems know it's going to help the economy. That's why they didn't want him in there. I don't think that's it yet either, dude. I refuse to believe that. I don't think Democrats are like inherently evil. And I think there's a level of socialism that once you, like, I don't think any socialists, even communists at heart, are like evil people. I think they want what's best for the world, but what's best for the world in their eyes isn't realistic because you live in a global capitalistic society. So there's always going to be buyers and sellers. There's always going to be borrowers and lenders. There's always going to be conquerors and, losers. Like that's just part of life. And so like wanting equality for everyone's not inherently evil. Like, I think everybody in the world should be equal. Okay. Like that's sweet, but that's not realistic. That's not how life works. So it's also like, and that's why when you go to like these socialist protests, like you interview these people, they have no idea. You can ask them, they'll be like, I don't support a fascist. And then you go, what's a fascist? And they can't tell you. Or, why do you think Elon Musk is a Nazi? And they're like, oh, all because he does this with his hand. They actually don't know what a Nazi is, which is crazy. It's the education it's scaring me, man. We really need to fix the education in the United States right now. But that's I'll digress, dude. I'll digress. They're all corrupt. Dollar cost average is 0. Whoop, whoop. Hey, maybe. How was your 401k today? Not 2 years now. Today? Well, I'm 27 years old, dude. So my 401k don't fucking matter, crypto too. But how is your 401k going to be for your grandkids or your children? We can't continue to keep creating this amount of debt. The deficit has to be solved this year. If not this year, within the next 4 years. Because if we don't, all of a sudden our social security fees and everything and our deficit, our interest payments alone on the United States national debt is going to exceed $5 trillion at a compounded annual interest rate if we're not careful. That's not sustainable, right? So it's like if you're not against, like, cool, I get it. You want to kick the can further down the road because you don't want to deal with it today. But what about our kids? What about the next generation? What about holding the United States dollar as the world reserve status of the world and not losing to China in 20 to 30 years? Like those decisions have to be made now, because if they're not made now and we wait until something breaks, that is when we lose. That is when everyone loses on a global scale. And so A 20% correction on the stock market, normal, happens every 18 months. The stock market is not an indication of the economy. The economy, unemployment, is at pretty good rates. Or it's starting to tick up a little bit, but the interest rates can be cut by the feds, and that's going to incentivize more borrowing, which is going to incentivize more private growth. Inflation is dropping. Inflation's coming down month over month, week over week. Now, we don't know what the impact is going to be just yet on the inflationary cost of the tariffs that are going to be embedded, but we know tariffs don't cause inflation. It's going to be a one-time immediate, price increase, which if you want to count that as inflation, sure. But now we have to have the conversation. Okay, if it's going to bring back manufacturing jobs and wage growth, is it going to outpace it the same way we saw in 2016 to 2020 when they tariffed 20% on Chinese goods, for example, like washing machines, et cetera? And all you saw was a 0.7% increase over 4 years. That means for a 20% tariff where we brought hundreds of billions of dollars into our economy, there was a 0.7% increase over 4 years against that. Wages outcompeted that massively. That was real wage growth. And so it's more like, I'm not trying to feed into one side narrative or the other. It's just understanding, okay, the tariffs are coming, whether you like it or not. How do we prepare for that? How do we proact to that? And at the same time, I just don't see a world where investing $6 trillion into American manufacturing and jobs in our private sector in the economy in the US, as well as driving down those interest rates and the yields at the same time, that's all really good long term. So this means now this collective recessionary end of the world order, whatever conversation you have today, oh, tariff bad. Okay, great. Why tariff bad? And then it's always, well, the price of my goods are going to go up by an X value. But then I go, okay, well, what's your business? What are you manufacturing? Where are you actually, is it China? Because a lot of goods will be manufactured in China, but Vietnam, Bangladesh, Thailand, Japan, they're announcing zero negotiations. So if those negotiations are going to end up in good trade war, like really good trade negotiations for the small businesses there's also a case to be made. You're going to have more investors and more consumers because we're opening up to Japan's markets. We're opening up to China's markets. And so it's kind of just and I'll take some more questions here and we'll go to the charts. But again, maybe I'm just too optimistic. People don't like that. People don't like optimism for whatever reason. Unless you're optimistic about their beliefs, you're evil in their eyes. And there's nothing you can say to that side that's going to make them go, oh, maybe there is a good part of it, So it's back and forth. And I think though, if we zoom out 3 months from now, if we zoom out 6 months from now, my question is like, I'm going to come out and say I was wrong, dude. I'm literally live with you guys here. Like, right? Like I do content every single day. I do TikToks all the time. It's like, I have to admit that. But the people that are the 75% of the media right now, it's fear mongering to you to sell today, to panic sell, to go protest and burn down Tesla dealerships. And, it's that noise, I think just needs to be removed. I think it's doing more harm than good. People don't realize tariff percentages are temporary. Yeah. And again, we just don't know what I don't have the backstage information on these negotiations. Nobody does. And so it's like, what if there's a good chance 90% of these tariffs get dropped and we see historical trade deals. And then there's pretty much no inflation. There's very limited tariff conversation. And markets just absolutely it's a possibility, right? And let's do this in chat. Like type 3 in chat if you think there's a possibility that the outcome of these tariffs are good. Like just a possibility, right? I'm not saying they're going to be. So if you're somebody that's just is there a possibility that this will end up working? And if that possibility exists, I think there's a right to explore, right? And that's as simple as the conversation. That is all I'm trying to say here. So we should be able to have that conversation. Gavin Newsom would be a hideous nightmare. Yeah, again, it's one of those guys. We have to have that conversation. All threes coming in chat. I love the three. Yeah, see, that's why I love Discover Crypto's community. That's why you guys, I think, are some of the most intelligent people I've had ever the opportunity to, cover news with you guys. It's like my whole goal is just to have the conversation. And trust me, you're going to see that conversation very, very soon on a bipartisan scale. And I am very excited. So lots of threes coming in. But we won't know until 8 weeks. Bearish divergence confirms or not. We have about 25 days, I think, for that to confirm. Clay, you're 100% correct, man. I 100% agree with the statement. And I think it's dependent on two things. One is, again, the CPI data reports. We have to go to our economic calendar, guys. So this all impacts crypto here. which if you guys aren't, following your economic calendar, this is why I'm building one for crypto. Again, we're going to be essentially building the Bloomberg terminal of crypto, so you guys can just log on every single day. You'll have everything from your macro news to your crypto news to your indicators to your fear indexes, everything in one place. Opportunity for tokenization yields, literally by everything in one place. But I have to say that right now, crypto is completely reliant on the tariff, on the macro scale right now. I think Bitcoin is maturing. I think Bitcoin's going to break away, but it's still perceived as a very risk-on asset. So even though it looks like a digital commodity, it is a digital commodity. It's classified as a digital commodity. It's still very, very immature. And so it's still going to be volatile. And until Bitcoin really gets that mainstream direction of, okay, this is a hedge against inflation. Again, your altcoins, you have to now have that conversation. If Bitcoin's going to break away, every other altcoin is perceived as a risk-on asset. So until liquidity is easy, until monetary policy is easing, until borrowing costs are limited, or lower, and there's an incentivization of like liquidity going back into our system, out of bonds, etc. It's gonna struggle and follow the SPX. It's gonna struggle and follow your NASDAQ, your tech stocks, and that's why there's a huge correlation. So looking at the 3-star impact here, guys, this week we have April 9th is going to be the consumer confidence from Japan. I'm not going to be too talked about that, but you have FOMC meetings, FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday, and then Thursday's the big day this week. Thursday's the big dog this week. Core inflation month over month and year over year is coming out on Thursday. Friday is also a pretty big day. The PPI, which is the Producers Price Index, coming out with Michigan consumer sentiment. Michigan consumer sentiment, very, very low. So the consensus right now is 54.7%. Forecast is 56.4%. So they're believing consumer sentiment's going to drop. I would argue that it's probably going to drop and be about the baseline there. But what we really want to see, though, is just inflation. If inflation comes out better than expected, massive win. If inflation comes out better than expected, massive win. You're probably going to see markets bounce a little bit off of that. And again, I would say if inflation's dropping and unemployment's rising, that's going to be an indication that we more or less see the Feds pivot in June. I still don't think we're going to see it in May. I would love to see it, but I think that would be, markets will shockingly rip. They'll rip to the upside if the Feds decide to cut. However, Larry Fink came out today and he said that there's a chance that they raise interest rates. That's insane. Imagine if Jerome Powell raised interest rates. Holy smokes, that would send us honestly, if you want a recession, that would be what starts making me go, shit, okay, Wall Street's going after. Wall Street hates Trump's fiscal policy, and Wall Street is going to do everything in their power to remove him and impeach him. Like, I don't know if that's too conspiratorial, but man, if they start raising interest rates again, dude, that would be nasty, man. That would be nasty. Nasty. Nobody talked about the tariffs until the last week. Now everyone's an expert. 100%. 100%, man. We've been covering them for months. We've been covering them for months and months and months. But I did not think they were going to have this negative an impact. I thought markets would be a little bit smarter and understand that we have to solve our deficit. And I also thought they would understand they'd be used for negotiation. But apparently not. Apparently not. Nobody will be crying when their taxes go down. Yeah, and I'm also optimistic on the tax plan. I'm very optimistic on the tax plan. That's going to be huge as well. But that's going to take time, and that's got to go through Congress. So that, more or less, I don't think you're going to see any development in terms of tax laws or tax cuts in 2025. 2026, Bitcoin going to dump to 55K? Maybe, man. I don't know. What else we got here? They already loosened up, QT. Yeah, they did start loosening up, but I guess the conversation, I didn't watch the interview yet. I also only saw clickbait titles, so maybe I shouldn't speak on it yet, because maybe Larry Fink was saying in regards to if inflationary pressures tick up high enough because of tariffs, and he might say, like, he might have said, like, he doesn't know the outcome of that, but if tariffs were to incite massive inflation, maybe they would cut. But again, it wouldn't make sense for that, because I would imagine Jerome Powell is smart enough to understand that the tariffs they're an immediate price hike, but they're not inflationary. Like, once that price is up, it doesn't continue, right? Unless they keep raising tariff month over month. But like, once 20%, like, it just jumps and that's it. So inflation would still be at the same pace, if that makes. Yeah. So actually, it wouldn't make sense. I don't know why the Feds would raise interest. Maybe someone that's a macroeconomist could tell me a little bit better but that wouldn't make sense either. You know? You won't be crying when you die either. Is Crypto2, is that a threat? Did I just get threatened? My God. Crypto2, chill, man. Chill, dude. No one is negotiating. BR Animation, where have you been, man? Have you turned on the news today? Everybody's negotiating. Israel is literally at the White House right now negotiating. But yeah, Japan's flying in this week to negotiate. Europe's ready to negotiate. They already announced it. There's literally massive negotiations taking place. Jaguar would pause U.S. shipments. Yeah, but then Jaguar get canceled for their terrible rebrand. I actually kind of liked it. I'm not even. I liked the Jaguar rebrand. But I think you're going to see a lot of those. You'll see those fill up a little bit. But yeah, people were bashing on this concept car. I mean, I don't like the pink, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. Am I weird? I don't think this is that bad. I mean, gold's ugly as shit. But I thought this was kind of cool. It's kind of cyberpunky. Like, I didn't think it was like everybody's taste, obviously. But I didn't think it was like that bad to be like, it's definitely different, you know? And nobody drives. Exactly. Nobody drives Jaguar anyways. So I was just like, at least it's like, if I definitely, my eyes would turn in the street if I saw this. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. Josh, I'll be honest with you. We're already in a bear market territory, like Bitcoin. Oh yeah, we're definitely in bear market territory, homie. We're almost cooked, or basically, hold on, I got to pull it up because I can't read. We're almost cooked. So basically, be bag holders again. I mean, yeah. So like, Stay, I know we disagree on a lot of things, homie, but I think we might be able to agree on that. It's just like, yeah, dude, it's why I'm just dollar cost averaging these blue chips. Now I'm in a much different position because, you know, I've been in cycle after cycle, man. I mean, my entry point I'm still up massively in a lot of ways. I've lost a lot of money though, obviously, clearly, you know, from all-time high perspective. But I've made way more than I've lost. So it's just that moment, Steady, where I'm just like, okay, everybody's too fearful, everybody's too scared, everybody's emotional. Like it's constant bickering. And for me, for that reason, just tells me you know what? Breathe, sit back. Look at COVID-19, right? Steady. COVID-19 dropped super quickly. Worst market days in our economic history, or in our market history. I mean, and today is going to follow suit on that. Tariffs are going to follow suit pretty closely. And that's why I'm comparing it to COVID. I think there's pretty similar emotional reaction. For the people that sold at the bottom of COVID that thought we were going to go down and out, like, again, when we're down 30%, let me pull this chart here, right? Let me go to the SPX. When we were down 30% for COVID, right, which right now we're at today, which, my God, the rebound is insane on the daily there. Here's COVID, right? This is the same market reactionary. This isn't the same as Biden in 2022 with the slow bleed, right? This was recessionary. And this is because of all the inflation and the terrible energy policies the Biden administration decided to take in the first 2 years of the administration. Propped up the market, realized that we needed cheaper energy costs. I'm not comparing it to this because this is poor fiscal policy and poor monetary policy. This was just incredibly reactionary, unprecedented, pandemic, inflation. Trump's administration printed, you know, again, Donald Trump had a play into the inflation that took place, but I think there's an argument to be made with the energy issues. Either way, when we were down at these levels, and Steady, maybe you don't agree with this. I'm going to imagine what you do as well. When we were down 33%, everyone, when we're in this like week time frame, dude, I had friends, family, everybody sell. Everybody panicking. Sell. And then it turned out that within 2 weeks, if not 2 to 4 weeks, everybody that sold, and Patrick Bet David had a perfect example of this with his friend earlier today. His friend sold at a $5 million loss to only turn around and watch. If he had held for 3 weeks, it would have redeemed itself. And the reason why I'm using that as an example is because you don't have to just take COVID. You can take any time in history. And we know that on a global scale, guys, we're going to be okay. Like, we're going to be okay on a global scale. Every time it goes down, it comes back up. Every time it goes down, it comes back up. And this is because look at what happened to the stock markets in Hong Kong. Look at what happened to stock markets in Taiwan, Japan, etc. The U.S. stock market dropped by 5% in a day. They dropped by 13.7%. They dropped by 10%. They dropped by 8%. And that's because while everybody for weeks was saying that Canada and Mexico and China and Taiwan, they don't need the United States. They all need the United States. This is we're not, the isolation doesn't exist in 2025. These people that think Trump won an isolation economy, that's ridiculous. What we should have is a regionalistic based economy where maybe we have better supply trade partners with Mexico and China, Canada, because we're all on the same continent. But we should still establish global trade routes, and we should open up trade with China. We should open up trade with Russia if they end the war, right? Like, it shouldn't be this constant battle of isolationists on a global scale. We live in a free market capitalistic society, and within that free market, we should have fair trade routes. Fair trade routes. That's not what's been happening. So for that example, again, just look at what happened to the stock markets in all these other countries. It's going to force China to print. It would force China to print. Did you know China didn't even print money during COVID? That is how authoritarian they are. They were like, yeah, no, we're not going to deal with this. We're going to shut down all travel. We're going to make you stay home. We're going to destroy the consumer class. And they were literally burning bodies in the streets. If you guys remember what was happening in COVID with the cremations, insane, absolute insanity. They wouldn't even provide the fiscal stimulus to their citizens. Now it's a completely different culture. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But my point is, they're all reliant on each other. In the U.S., while we're not as reliant on China, while we're not as reliant on these other countries, we still rely on them in many different ways. It makes no sense to cut them out of these trade deals. Absolutely zero sense. Why would we do that when most of our manufacturing and cheap labor costs come from China? And why would China cut ties with the United States when we're their number one consumer? The Chinese working class or middle class, whatever you like to classify them, they're not consumers. They're high on manufacturing, low on consumer. America is low on manufacturing, high on consumption. And so there should be an economic trade deal that is fair based off those models and metrics. And that's what I'm very optimistic, and hopefully that's what I want to see out of it, is much more mature, fair trade deals between the largest partners. Like, I would love to travel to China, dude. I would love to. Like, I've never been there. I've never been to China. I would love to go to Hong Kong. But dude, China is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And it's like looked down upon if you want to do anything in China. It's looked down upon. You can't do anything there. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So anyways, I'm huge anti-war, which again is not a far right thing at all, even though people think I'm far. I'm anti-war as fuck. Almost every war I think should be solved through diplomacy. And if China, the United States, and Russia really just stepped in and were just like, hey, don't do that to these smaller nations, I think diplomatic deals could be very, very strong in the course. I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see some of the best diplomatic deals we've ever seen. There's no purpose in having nuclear. It's like having the nuclear arsenal. Like, no one's ever going to have a nuclear war. That would crush the globe, dude. It'd be World War III. Which then at this point, dude, if World War III starts, I'm not live streaming that shit. I'm gonna go spend my last days with my wife, dude. You think I'm gonna be on fucking like? It's just, and nobody wants that. I don't see that. I don't think Xi Jinping wants to nuke the rest of the world, especially when they have 1.4 billion civilians and rely on the United States agriculturally and from our energy. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So, and maybe I'm just ranting at this point. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's where I stand on a lot. That's why I think most things should be done diplomatically. I think Bitcoin mining can fundamentally reshape our entire world. I think we can produce more energy than ever, consume more energy than ever, reduce our carbon emissions, reduce our CO2 emissions into the atmosphere, allowing us not only to produce faster and cheaper and better energy, but send us into a whole new a whole new industrialization era. Like, it makes no sense that the United States has one New York. Look at China. It's like, we should be so much more advanced, but it's, again, I think corruption and war, that's all we've dealt with the last 60 years. Like, there's never been a time of peace. I still wouldn't consider today a time of peace. I think it's ridiculous to say we're at peace, and then you have what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in the Middle East. But then, of course, nobody, for some reason, in mainstream media wants to talk about, like, there's not genocide and massive wars happening in Africa right now that are being funded by our NGOs and Russian foreign groups and Chinese groups. It's the Congo's insane right now for their natural resources. So anyways, nobody likes nukes, but it's great deterrence. 100%, man. I'm just glad to see the market is getting a correction it needed. Stocks were bloated by government stimulus over the last 5 years. Yeah. Peace through strength. I completely agree. You know that nobody in exile is going to invest into altcoins. So basically we're holding them for nothing. Yeah. So great point. So SteadyBug breaks a great point here. So if you're somebody that's only into microcaps, which you guys have been following this channel and ever since I've been on the show, you guys know I follow 50, 25, 25. I'm heavily allocated to Bitcoin. Next, my heavy allocations are to blue chips, which is, Chainlink, Ondo, and Ethereum. And then Pinlink is would be one of my bigger holdings as well. But that's because I'm earning yield off that now through Bitcoin mining. So it's I'm still going back into Bitcoin with that. So it's like, for the people that are you're 100% right, Steady. And this is why people get mad at me when I make these price predictions on XRP or Cardano. And I'm going to get some of these wrong. But ultimately, I don't expect these to go back to all-time highs. I just don't. Even Chainlink. I kept saying $40 to $50 Chainlink this cycle. And people were like, why don't you think it's $100? And then when it was at $30, okay, maybe we can go to $100. And I felt for the bullish hype wave. I should have sold everything, like my plan was. Sell it once we were above 80K, dollar cost average out. We were making these decisions in November, but I fell for the hype. And we're going to make those mistakes. But in terms of the overall altcoin market, even if $6 trillion floods into the altcoin sector, guys, you have to realize there's now 13 million tokens compared to 21,000, right? There used to be a time where on this market, me and you guys in chat, I could sit here on a Twitch. I did this on Twitch in 2020, in 2019 and 2020. When I first got into crypto, I started streaming on Twitch and I was streaming Dogecoin. I was trading Dogecoin, and my biggest stream ever on Twitch, and this is the day I ended up turning, was when I went from 13 live viewers, said $500 in Dogecoin, and Elon Musk tweeted and it turned into $6,000. My Dogecoin went from $500 to $6,000, and everybody was watching me on Twitch what the heck's happening right now? I was making all this money. And that's the day I pretty much turned down gaming completely. I was trying to be a professional gamer. I was running a drone business. I was going back to college and everything back in 2019, 2020. And that's when I shifted. And what I did was I would just live stream on Twitch. I literally would live stream on Twitch and just research white papers. There was 100 tokens. There was 100 tokens on CoinMarketCap. Probably less. 2018, there was definitely shit coins that were under the sub 100, but we read through every single I have a book called The Book of 100 White Papers, and each page is seven pages of notes on every single cryptocurrency's white paper and what they do, what they're developing, interviews with their CEOs, with their developers, their founders, etc. And we did that for months, but we got through it. Dude, if I were to sit down today, 4 years ago, or 6 years ago, I would have said, go read every single white paper. Just start learning about what crypto is trying to accomplish. Today, that's impossible, dude. I can't even, I refuse to give up. I give up. I'm not trying to keep up with I'm sector-based now. I'm dude, I'm tokenization and real-world assets. You want to be in Web3 gaming? There's 100 projects launching. Go research it. Good luck. But to be someone that's an expert in every single field now in crypto, I think is absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. There's so many altcoins now, and you have to take that into consideration when this next cycle comes. That's why I think it's going to be sector-based. So I think a lot of your altcoins will perform well. If Bitcoin goes to 150K, of course, most of your altcoins are pumped. They're trading pairs, right? That's just how liquidity works. You're going to see definitely a rise in that. It's kind of like rising tide lifts all boats. But yeah, now Bitcoin, guys, back at 79K, chat. We're back at 79K here. What's this? What's this, we ask? That's crazy. Extra Cobra. What's up, Nick? Dude, the Cobras, dude. The OGs, man. Definitely getting Cardano wrong. I love Charles Hoskins. I love Cardano's community, man. Again, I'm just saying, I don't know if I think all-time high. I would like to get back to all-time highs, right? Get me, it's, nobody's going to invest in altcoins anymore, so why would I hold them till next cycle when I know they're not coming back? Well, I don't know what altcoins you hold, Steady. I hold Link on. I told you my token. So when I say my coins, I think are going to go back to all-time highs, I'm referring to mine. I can't justify all the, dust tokens or whatever in your portfolio. You know what I mean? You got to make that decision yourself. There's a lot of great projects I don't hold. There's a lot of great projects I don't hold. Just roll with the punches. Hell yeah, baby. Yep. Let me read this one. It's too big. Same $700 Doge turned into 10K when Elon made the first announcements. Dude, the good old days, man. The good old days where Elon Musk could actually move markets. The good old days, man. Completely gone now. We have Julio. There's a lot, but if you remove memes, there actually aren't as many as you're saying. Yeah, but I would argue that, dude, meme coins, they've become one of the biggest liquidity extraction tools in the entire market. Unfortunately, if you see Ethereum or Sui or these pump, A lot of that money is going to flow into meme coins. It's just going to happen, unfortunately. Unfortunately, man. But we'll get through it. Let's see. Like meme coins will come back. I think they'll come back, but like, dude, I even fell into it. Like we launched Duke as well, and that was a completely fair launch meme coin. I've never traded it, never made money off of it. And I literally can prove that because of I have to go through background checks and everything, report to the SEC. But once Donald Trump launched, and that was just the most obvious top indicator, and that was me being politically biased at that point. Dude, their inside team, again, there was just what Hayden Davis did with Argentina's coin, Melania Trump, Barron's tokens with Martin Shkreli, whatever that skinny little pharmaceutical snitch is. It's just that industry. Meme coins aren't going to go anywhere, man. They're just slot machines. They're really just slot machines, and it's an insider game. It's an insider game. And the meme coins that are going to pump this next cycle are going to pump the same way they pumped this last cycle. That is with KOL groups, with 50 plus influencers that are phase members or whatever it is, all getting in early and then doing a collective stream to boost that project through certain metrics, put a few $1 million in the market making, artificially pump up the volume and make a project look a lot stronger than it is. And then they slowly drain, they slow rug the community, and they relaunch another token. And I unfortunately don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. Can meme coins be made for good? Yes, I believe meme coins can be made for good. How do you do that? You do either like fair launch tokens that are like, for the example, the MLB, the NBA. I don't think they need a utility token. But if they were to do something where they just airdrop their community tokens for every time you buy a baseball ticket, you get 1 meme coin. And if you get 10 meme coins, you could buy a hot dog with it or something like that. That creates an ecosystem of value within that community. I think you can do there's a lot of innovative ways to integrate that into your tools. Same way with with systems and mascots. I think that's a way to go that still needs to be explored. But unfortunately, 99.99999% of your meme coins are launched by like some, egotistical phase member that gets off on stream by, rugging his community. So I think we're just still super early to that. But I do believe there will be success stories. Fart Coin's one that came out of an AI model. Dog Coin's a great one. That was a fair launch, but still there's a lot of early investors that hold a good majority of it. But I do like Dog Coin. That was the first one on Bitcoin. Again, I just think there's a lot of ways it could slowly integrate. Is it already that late? Right. I'll see. Man, didn't know it was 5 o'clock. I can't see the time. Plume and Ondo are slowly getting some Bitcoin. Nice, yeah. Dude, what's Plume at today? Plume's one of the best plays. So shout out to any of you guys that got into this. I called this at 9 cents, dude. 9 cents here. We called literally the exact bottom. 9 cents, baby. 9 cents. And that thing went up to 24 cents. Falling with the market now. Rebounding a little bit, but you're still up massively on that. Plume's a good one. Ondo's a good one. Ondo, once it breaks out of this, it's going to send to Valhalla, dude. But we'll see. We need Bitcoin to really break out of that. It's Bitcoin we need to watch right now. And nothing's going to break out until Bitcoin pivots and finds that bottom here. Let's see what we got here. I have Solana, Cardano, Ethereum, Near, Sweet, AVAX, Ondo, Render, and that's about it. I think those are great platforms, and I think most of those will do well. Here we go. We got a big one. I got to pull this up from Wrath here on X. There are quite a few of us that do make good money off memes and follow strict metrics and have good risk management. Again, I think you can make money off memes. It's why I won't shit on memes, because I think they have a place in the industry, but I will shit on the people that launch artificially negative liquidity extractors. But like Wrath, for example, you might be able to know how to trade that game and you're going to make money with it, man. So I don't have anything against memes. It's a world that completely relies on high liquidity environments, consumer sentiment being, very, very optimistic, and an excess amount of personal savings rates. If not, it's just an uphill battle, man. An uphill battle. But they will come back. They're the last, I think, to come back. I've made $50,000 off Dogecoin. You are a thug, my man. My Venmo is in the link in the bio. I'm just kidding. Memes will come back when the left gets a sense of humor. That is funny.
That is funny. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you. I can't argue with that. So let's freaking go, dude. Yeah, it's yeah, you can make money off any of these sectors. For me, it's just, dude, Ondo, Link, tokenization, I think are gonna be freaking huge. Ondo looks like it's gonna go up. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to say the bottom's in, but I mean, I'm not gonna jinx it, man. I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm not gonna jinx it. I was sleeping when it happened, unfortunately. I just realized the SPX closed today, so Bitcoin's going up after hours. All right, guys. Well, if you appreciate these long live streams, I love all of you guys for being here. We had over 1,000 people watching this entire stream here, guys. If you guys appreciate the breaking news and us covering these press conferences and everything that's happening in the news, I want to cover you guys. I want to cover a lot more breaking news. That's the fun I have. I have a lot more fun covering breaking news than just charts 24/7. It gives us a little bit more entertainment. So make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. If your eyes are on X, help us out by just hitting that repost button. Of course, subscribe, guys. Turn on post notifications so you stop missing out. We're live 10:30 a.m. Eastern every single morning, Monday through Friday, with all your crypto news. The morning, if you want just straight crypto news, what's happening in each ecosystem, what's happening with hedge funds, are people shorting, are people longing? That is what we cover in the morning news. The afternoons are going to be more pivoted towards macroeconomics or whatever breaking news is starting to roll out. And of course, like the good old times, if we have any great trades open, we'll be going live with all those segments as well here, guys. So appreciate you all. And we'll crush it later here. And to end it off here, this guy says, this guy is so bearish. It's annoying. Don't know where I was bearish at all today. But hey, when we see you at 150K Bitcoin here in this cycle, you can keep calling me bearish, man. Will be an absolute phenomenal time, guys. Much love. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.